Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
And so we've got to build it to that. And I think, another year in that system, understanding kind of the what ifs and understanding the also ands, I think are really key there, because that's such a big piece. That's the glue, really. I think we'll be better.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
A lot of things that you've seen over the years, and that is really good players. They've gotten older and better, and I think they execute and follow Coach Smart's game plan, and that's why they're off to a great start. And I think whenever you have talented players that are older, like we have and they have, it's a recipe for success.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
I wouldn't say that there's any less pressure or more pressure. I wouldn't say there's any pressure at all with making shots. So just go out there and shoot it. If it goes in, it goes in. If you miss it, you miss it.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Well, good afternoon on what is a crazy busy, many things going on. We thought yesterday was a little bit crazy, a lot of things. But today's show will have Mac Rhodes, Kim Mulkey, Scott Drew, and Dave Aranda summarizing what happened in high school football last night and also what happens today and tomorrow. In fact, College Station's Steve Huff will join us live at 5:30. We'll hear from a young man, a senior offensive lineman at Mart, who will join us as they're in the state championship game for the fourth consecutive year, trying to win 4 in a row. Yes, we'll discuss Baylor and Oklahoma State, the time change, COVID, testing, and what helped. What's the behind-the-scenes story? Because it's a green light. And Baylor women win last night. Kim Mulkey, Scott Drew on UT Baylor Sunday. All of that and much more to get to. And we'll hear from Mac Rhodes in just a second, Baylor Director of Athletics on SicEm365. We have Jack and Armstrong run the mothership. So earlier today, I got word from sources that Baylor had really what is an amazing almost 24 to 36 hours of turnaround on testing and positive tests and who was positive and where there's some inconclusive. In the end, they have been in touch throughout the day, all throughout the morning with Mike Holder, the AD at Oklahoma State, also Bob Bowlesby, the commissioner, and they got the green light, not only the green light to play, but also they're going to move the game up to 2:30, which is the prime time, not prime time game. 6 would be at night, but that's the game because Texas and Kansas have been moved. So Baylor last night, there was a chance last night. I told you 3 out of 5 offensive coaches tested positive. There was a chance last night that number among the program was quadrupled. But they did some retesting last night. And there are a couple of coaches that tested positive that then were negative or inconclusive that became negative. Bottom line is they're going to play against Oklahoma State. The Big 12 knows their process. The antigen test from this morning, no new positives. They will not be at full throttle, but they'll be above the line when it comes to minimum players. They'll be above the line position groups, and they'll, yes, have some issues on who's going to call plays on the offense.
Well, you never know. I mean, they can have a diamond in the rough. Somebody can be ready to go and start calling some great plays.
Yeah, maybe Charlie Brewer's a great OC. Maybe, and I know that the joke's been used on the boards this week, but for longtime members of SicEm365, maybe former running back Terrence Williams can slide in and call plays like he used to back in the day, according to a couple of people. But no, I am thrilled that they're actually going to get to play. I mean, I think that's just the biggest thing, regardless of who's involved or who's there and not and whatever. I mean, I just wanted to see this team play one more time, and I was sitting down. I started to write an article earlier this week that I had to scrap because all of a sudden we started getting this news about the testing, and I was like, well, shoot, if I write this, then it might not make any sense, and so I kind of had to wait, and finally I just went with the angle of, this is hopefully a game that we get to see because this is going to be one last time to see a lot of people. I mean, there's going to be a lot of guys potentially on the staff, on the roster that aren't here next year, right? I mean, there's going to be jobs that change. There's going to be decisions that are made. There's going to be players that feel like there's pull to go elsewhere, or maybe coaches who feel like it's best if they move on to other opportunities. There's going to be guys that graduate. So, this is going to be a different team after Saturday, and I'm just really thankful that they have Saturday to have one last time to roll out there together.
Yeah, it's been a hectic, as you can imagine, 24 to 48 hours. We're now joined by Baylor Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades, who has been in contact throughout the day with the Big 12, and also Mike Holder at Oklahoma State. Mack, thanks for your time. You, I hope, are keeping notes to write a book at some point about what you have dealt with as an AD, as a program, as an athletic department, university. Did you think last night when you went to bed that you were going to play Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I had a gut that we'd find a way to do it safely. Let me retract that statement. To be honest with you, I don't know what I thought. It probably just could have gone either way, and I'm glad that we're playing, and certainly we were surprised. Yesterday when we were made aware of some positives from a PCR test on Wednesday.
Mack, how much did the last couple times that you've had to deal with this allow you to react as quickly as you did, and maybe maybe more informed than the first time around?
Yeah, I mean, I think practice makes perfect, and we've had some practice, unfortunately. And so I think just, the protocol and making phone calls immediately, and how we deal with the lab, and, how we inform, certain people, probably we're able to do that maybe a little bit more quickly than what we've done in the past. So, but, grateful for our staff, with Kenny Boyd and others, just, the way the entire thing has been handled. That would include also Coach Aranda, and so I'm happy that we can play a game tomorrow.
Mack, are you a little bit relieved that you'll get a proper send-off, for seniors and guys that aren't going to come back next year? Whereas, last week, had you known it was going to be the last game, even though it was in Norman, you kind of prepare yourselves for like, hey, guys are going to move on to another chapter. But, had this game been ripped away, you wouldn't have had that opportunity. So, I mean, is it kind of a relief in a way that there will be a proper send-off or a proper end to the season versus just realizing, hey, it's over?
Yeah, I personally like, ending the season at home, especially this season. Before you say goodbye to your student athletes before they go home for break, right? That we have the one last opportunity to be together as a family in McLean Stadium. I think that's healthy. I think that's positive for us as we move forward. Particularly because of the year that we've all experienced, the nuances, the hardships of playing during a pandemic.
Mack, a couple of things. On the minimum number you have to play, is that minimum number minus COVID, or is that minimum number minus COVID and injuries?
Yeah, I think in general, the way we looked at it as a conference, right, was, the 53 on the roster, it didn't necessarily, you weren't trying to define, COVID, not COVID, right? It's just, did you have 53, scholarship, or 53 roster, on the roster, student athletes available, right? And then again, when we went to those three position groups, the minimums there, we really looked at it in totality and didn't try to, pick out, injury versus COVID, right? It's just the number that you have available, period. And if you don't have that number available, it doesn't matter how you get there, right? Then you can't play. And, it's been out there, I think, Smoak, you may have reported it, but it's been out there. This here was not a student athlete issue for us in terms of, that minimum threshold of 53 on the roster, or the three position groups, the offensive line, defensive line, and quarterback position. This is really a staff issue. And, that's where the positives were, and we're gonna go into the game on Saturday, minus some key staff members, but we'll work through that, and Coach will work through that, and we won't use it as an excuse. So we'll be ready to play, and after we learned of the positives yesterday, we cleared the facility out just for precautionary measures. We did test, right? Normally you test the Wednesday and then you just test Friday. We did test again yesterday, a PCR test Thursday, and we were able to get those results back late last night at about midnight. And the good news was we only had one additional positive, right? And then we followed that up this morning with the normal Friday antigen test, and we had no positives. So we feel like we've done our due diligence. We feel like by the time we get to the field, at 2:30, we'll have ensured that there's nobody on the field that has the infection, and been in conversation with Oklahoma State. They have been obviously very comfortable in the way we've handled it. Not only Coach Holder, but certainly their medical staff. Their medical staff talking to our medical staff, vice versa. So that's how we've handled it, and we'll look forward to playing one last home game in McLean for this year.
Are you tempted to do one more test in the morning?
Yeah, I mean that's under consideration right now, and we may do that. And I think both schools have had conversation, and I don't know that we've decided. When I say we, both schools, I don't know that we've decided that definitively. But if that's an extra layer, and our medical people feel like that's just another extra layer, an extra precautionary measure to do that, then that's what we'll do.
One other question, if you don't mind, on the coaching staff, which I had the report about the offensive staff. Let's say a team is riddled like a position group on one side of the ball or the other. Is there any kind of waiver that a GA or somebody else who's quality control, who's done that before, can coach in the game? Can that happen? Is that something that can move quickly?
Yeah, it is. It is something that can move quickly, and you can have a conversation with the NCAA, and you can move a GA into that or a quality control into that. What you can't do, and this has been very specific for this year, but you can't, for example, have a second booth, let's just say, in the stadium, right, and bring a coach that maybe is infected, right, and get them up there before anybody's around, and keep them in there and keep them isolated, and let them, call the game, work the game, right. You can't do that. That's against NCAA rules. It's only the one booth, right. And then, we saw it with certainly with Coach Saban, but if you're positive with COVID in your home, you can't do anything from home in terms of input with the game, et cetera. So, both of those things you can't do. And so you have to get creative in how you fill those spots. And believe me, we are working on and have gotten creative in terms of how we staff for the game tomorrow.
You're at peak creativity right now.
Yes, absolutely. So, in fact, we contemplated calling one of you. So.
Hey, I'm available. I don't know the terminology, but give me 6 hours and I'll get 80% of it.
Well,
I think one of you would be really good on the sideline, being the person that's putting in the that's putting in the fake signals. So I think one of you could handle that.
Well, Dave Aranda did say that Charlie Brewer operates better under chaos. So
we could provide some of that for sure.
That's what would happen if you put it to SicEm365 is chaos.
If we got it
just kind of a logistics question on, so the season ends on Saturday and you don't have anything until spring football. How much testing will coaches and players be subject to coming in and working out in the facility and doing the things that they would normally do in an off season?
Yeah, it's a great question, Paul. And when we reconvene for workouts and stuff, we'll go under the same types of testing protocol, again, making sure that when we're together that we're infectious free, right, that we're social distancing. I would envision that when we get back to workouts, smaller groups rather than large groups. And so we'll take, continue to take, precautionary measures, et cetera. And, I want to emphasize that, through our medical staff and coaches, right, we would not be playing a game tomorrow if we thought it was unsafe for our student athletes. We've said all along that when we began this, their safety, health and safety is first and foremost, and so we're in a position to play, and we're gonna play the game.
Mac, I don't want to fast forward too much, but I'm just imagining on Saturday night after that game gets played, fingers crossed, all that. Will you breathe the biggest sigh of relief that the football season has come and gone and you were able to complete it? And I know you can't really think about that right now, but just imagining for a moment what that will be like to put the bookend on the football season. What do you think that will feel like personally?
Yeah, I think that, Craig, that's a really, really good question. I think, I certainly think there'll be some reflection back and just kind of the journey when we started, how we started, where we started, and the fact that we made it. I think there'll be maybe a sense of relief and even a sense of accomplishment. I think more than anything, right, is just how do we then move forward and wrap our arms around our kids. And this again has been really, really hard on them. Mm-hmm. It's been hard on their families. It's been hard on our coaches, their families, right? And so how do we regroup and come together again and move forward? So it's been it's I don't know, it's been an interesting year to say the least. And I'm I sit here as athletic director, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say how proud I am of our young men and everything that they've had to endure, persevere through. They've been champions, and I feel the same way about our staff. Holy smokes for what Coach Aranda, as a first-time head coach, has gone through all the adversity. Today, last night, when we talked about staffing plan this morning, never winced. Just this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it, and we're going to be okay, right? And so he's been a champion, and again, just proud of our student athletes and grateful to their families, and proud of our staff and their families as well.
So you are dealing with this behind the scenes. The report that we had yesterday afternoon's out there. So the Big 12 and Oklahoma State probably knew what might be going on with communication. But then all of a sudden you get a call. Hey, what do you think about playing at 2:30 tomorrow?
Yeah, and that was an interesting phone call. Because, when they called, I said, yeah, we're willing. I'm not sure we're going to be able. And so we certainly obviously work through that. But yeah, it's been quite a past 24 hours. So,
well, we appreciate you giving us time that you gave us to kind of clarify a few things. So you have some staff Your antigen test today came back with no new positives, and you're ready to go. The minimum roster, position groups, 2:30 kickoff. Oklahoma State knew, Mike Holder knew, Bob Bowlesby knew, doctors, medical staffs, everybody knew that this was what was going on and where you were, and said, let's go play football.
Yep, that's a concise summary of what happened, and grateful for the opportunity to play one more game.
And depending on what happens in the next few hours, you might see me or Paul or Smokey on the sideline holding a sign tomorrow.
Holding a sign.
For throwing fake plays.
I can't wait for the hold up the sign with the fake, like the colors
on it.
It'll
be our logo.
It
It'll be our logo. I mean, it's going to be the SicEm365 radio logo. Mac, thank you, man. Get some sleep if you can.
All right.
Thank you. That's Mac Rhodes, Director of Athletics at Baylor.
They're just going to put music in our headset.
So one of the things that's a key about what happened this week, because this kind of came, this has happened before, not just at Baylor, it's happened elsewhere. Baylor had the before Houston, that was bad because it happened on a Friday morning after testing, and that's just, you can't do anything about it. But this is something that normally when you take a test on a Wednesday, you could get those results back by early afternoon. I'm being told that the tests they took Wednesday, they did not get those back until, I believe it might have been I think sometime yesterday afternoon after about 12 or 1. And so that's what shoved everything like a day closer. And I also know this, the results of who actually was inconclusive and then retested that was negative, and or if somebody was inconclusive and positive, that was going on up until midnight last night with discussions among Baylor and team doctors and medical staff.
Yeah, that testing, with it being inexact, that's one of the problems you run into. You get a positive, and it's actually a false positive. You get a negative, it's a false negative. I mean, how do you know? When do you know for sure? It's very unsettling and frustrating. Mac sounds tired. I mean, he generally just nearing the end of football season, you would expect your athletic director to be a little bit worn out, but this is clearly a year that's unlike any other and has taken more out of most than any other thing ever has in terms of talking about college athletics and all that. But yeah, I feel for him, and I'm just glad, like I said, that they're going to get a chance to play, because I want there to be one more opportunity to see R.J. Sneed make a highlight reel grab and Charlie Brewer do his thing. And maybe we see that again next year. I mean, that's the big question to be answered in the offseason. But it would have been kind of hard had the Oklahoma game just been the end and you didn't really have that chance to say goodbye, if you will, if that makes sense.
One note, these two brown paper sacks were saviors today. Paul, I told you, and Craig, I told you this, Armstrong and Jack. So I'm talking to a few people who are trying to, I'm trying to get information for them, and I have a Sharpie and 2 paper sacks, as I had just gone to Baylor to pick up credentials for tomorrow night's game, or tomorrow now afternoon's game. These are this is it right here. This is how I was able to write down some of the information, then pass it on to you on Twitter, social media, also with our staff at SicEm365.com. And, of course, Colt had something up very quickly as well. So there would have been, and you would imagine, hey, so wait a minute, what are they doing here? Mike Holder wants to play this football game. He wants to play it. So does Bob Bowlesby. And you could say, okay, why? Money? No, Mike Holder wants to play the football game. They just trust me here. He knows all of what's gone on. He wants to play the game. Now, will they have one more big test tomorrow for both teams or what? Because Oklahoma State will be in town? I don't know that. But this game is not just Baylor saying we're going to play the game. This is a game that everybody that's involved in this tomorrow has agreed to play the game. We do know that anything can change at any moment if there's a flare-up, and we hope that there's not. 2:30 tomorrow. We'll be on the air tomorrow. What time? 12:30, Paul? 12:30 with our pregame here on SicEm365 Radio with Paul, Craig, me, all the others. Jack, will you be here tomorrow or not? No,
he's going to the game.
That's right. Armstrong will be here. Obviously, Drake in the postgame as well with JD, all of the crew. Colt's coming in for the game. We'll have full coverage on that. Scott Drew will join us in the next segment as Baylor men's basketball plays Texas Sunday in a nice showdown. Kim Mulkey live at 4. On many things, her team really flexed their muscles in the second half against West Virginia. And I asked her the question about the Coach K comment. Paul, we have that. We'll play that, and then she'll follow up on that as well, and we'll get into that as well. This is Sic'em, 254-339-1122. We'd love to get your feedback. We hope we're giving you what you want, and we're doing it the way we should do it, to give you information as it happens, and then not just the information, but the background of it as well. Kenny Boyd is another person to think about through all of this among the team doctors and other staff. This is SicEm365 Radio. Petty Clinic Low T. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become a high-performance man. Become the high-performance man that you want to be. How? Get your blood work. What does that do? He gets to see your blood work, the levels you have when it comes to testosterone, when it comes to many things as well, like even your PSA test for prostate cancer, cholesterol, and other just blood levels that they need to your doctor needs to know about to just make sure you're where you need to be. But part of the lethargic, not feeling energetic, not having, something's missing. Even in the bedroom, sex drive, or endurance. PettyClinicLowT.com can check your testosterone level, which will get lower as you get older. Not everybody, but 1 out of every 3 men have something, symptomatic issues when it comes to low testosterone. Get the blood work. He'll look at your levels. If they're too low, he'll put you in a program to increase who you are as a high-performance man in many ways across the board. PettyClinicLowT.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of health care while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of health care has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. Even offering financing if that's needed, everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel & Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel & Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel & Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
With your Ram truck from Allen Samuels, you may not have to plow through snow and mud or pull heavy loads, but you could. During the Big Finish year-end event, you get a Ram deal like no other. Employee pricing for all, 0% for 84 and no payments for 90 days. Ram 1500 Lone Star for Christmas. No other truck comes close. And ask about Big Finish pricing on Ram Heavy Duty and Ram ProMaster for your business. Happy holidays from Allen Samuels.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Thanks to Mac Rhodes. You can imagine probably the last thing he wanted to do was talk to somebody else after the last 24 to 36 hours, but he did. We appreciate it. Kim Mulkey at 4. We'll have Scott Drew in a couple of minutes, also Maceo Teague. And then Dave Aranda will join us from earlier this week. We'll have that at 5. Terrell Bernard named a finalist, believe it or not. You know, he missed part of the year, but he was fantastic for the Pop Warner College Football Award that's given part of the classroom, making a difference on the field, the community, as a role model to Pop Warner's young student athletes. So good for Terrell for that.
I've never heard of that award before, but that's awesome for him. I played Pop Warner growing up.
Yep,
and,
you did. Me too.
And, that's really cool that that honor's out there and that he's part of that.
Sam Carroll, remember him? Mm-hmm. He has gotten an offer from Stephen F. Austin.
Good for him.
And I got a feeling he'll get a handful of others. But here's the problem with him. One of the things is he's graduating like at some time, I believe, in the next 10 days. So that was one of the things. Sign, graduate early, sign, come to us midterm. Of course, that midterm is up in the air for next spring.
Well, for those who don't know who that is, Sam Carroll was a Baylor commit as of about 2 days ago. And then after conversations, I guess, mutually parted ways.
Yes.
And will now
so
go
good
elsewhere.
for him.
You mean SFA of the WAC conference?
Yeah, that's another thing. How about that? Sam Houston State, SFA, among others, headed to be a part of the Western Athletic Conference. Do they have a conference? Have they been playing?
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
Also, Dane Yentz, the tremendous two-time state champion. Dane Yentz, the quarterback at Grandview, safety, led him to 2 titles, lost to Malakoff in the quarters, has committed to play at Lamar University in Beaumont. How about this for a note? Eli Gold, Alabama's voice of, has 409 consecutive Alabama games that he's called. That ends this weekend. When they play Arkansas, he has tested positive for COVID-19.
Some of the WAC is playing football.
Well, it's some of the Southland Conference, including SFA, played football. I got a couple other notes we'll get
Eli
to.
Gold has to be careful because of his age at this point. So, I mean, that just makes all the sense in the world. And I'm surprised we haven't heard about more broadcasters having to miss games, quite frankly. But
some are doing it remotely where you wouldn't think that would affect them. I mean, I've heard Chuck Cooperstein mention that, Brad Sham and Babe do their games. Mm-hmm. They do the games from AT&T Stadium, even if they're in Washington. Now, high school football, Jim Nedley's Mount Vernon in the first quarter, 3-0. That game is kicked off at Globe Life Field, actually Globe Life Park, the former Rangers home. Last night, Mark punched a ticket to another state championship game.
And I was just going to say, that's a big place for small schools to be playing. Like, it would be one thing if it was like 5As or 6As, but to have like the smaller classifications, I wonder what that atmosphere is like. Because I know they bring it all down basically, but I bet it's still just kind of cavernous or strange.
But they're playing right now. Does that mean they're planning on playing another game there tonight?
I don't see. Grass. I got to look at I'll look at the rest of it. But so that's 3-0. Jim Ned leads Mount Vernon. That game's in the first quarter. Crawford fell down to post. At one point, I think it was like 20-0. It was 20-7. Then 20-14. They converted a couple of long fourth downs, but Post wins it, knocks out Greg Jacobs and Crawford 28-14. Back-to-back trips for them to the state title. They'll play Shiner. Mart 48, Fall City 21. We'll hear from one of Mart's players, a senior at 4:15. Windthorst shut out Wellington in a great defensive game. I heard it was really a great defensive game, kind of followed it a little bit. 7-0 in the other 2A Division II game. Last night, Duncanville 60, Harker Heights 14, DeSoto 57, Shoemaker 32.
Hey.
And Waco High and Midway are going, Well,
I mean, that's actually pretty impressive by Shoemaker to throw up 32.
Yeah, they kind of scored a couple late, but but still.
But, 20. Amari Evans got involved. I mean, he had I think a kickoff return for a touchdown, the recent Baylor offer. And yeah, I mean, if you would have told me that game was going to be 70-0, I wouldn't have been surprised. I know Shoemaker's better than what I saw the last few years in that district, but still, I felt like they at least kept fighting. I'll give them credit for scrapping and fighting until the end.
Also tonight, Bryan Cedar Hill at Cedar Hill, and then Waxahachie and Temple play tonight at Wildcat Stadium in Temple. There's other games that are going on, but that and Riker plays for the state title tomorrow at 12 at Midway's Panther Stadium. But Central Texas is down to slim pickings. Now, we'll update that Mount Vernon Jim Ned game throughout. Now, Paul, men's basketball coming off the dominant win against SFA, and now UT to start out Big 12 conference play.
Yeah, they've got the Hook'ems to start out conference play. This is a tough Texas team. They're a lot better than they have been. They look more consistent. So one of the things, though, that Baylor's had to deal with, obviously, is scheduling jumbling. And Scott Drew was asked about the experience of his team and that if that allows them to deal with this craziness better.
Extremely important, and we knew that going in because everyone has freshmen, and it's been harder on them obviously because they weren't here in the full summer. They didn't get a chance to get the normal progression, and I tell you the best thing that in years previous, the NCAA rules, how they've adjusted and allowing us to coach them and work out with the strength coach in the summertime, and the more hours and the access. Usually by the time September, October came around, they were almost like sophomores because they'd gone through an opportunity to grow and get used to the rigors of Division I. This year they didn't have that opportunity, and then you get thrown right into games. It makes it hard for freshmen across the country.
Another thing, and this is questions I asked Scott, is what's the difference in Texas this year? What's made them more consistent? What has changed? And I also asked him about Shaka Smart, avoiding the axe last year, and if that kind of shows that maybe you should let people find their sea legs a little bit.
Scott, what is the biggest difference with Texas this year? You know, they had been kind of up and down the last few years, but they look like they finally come together a little bit. What do you see as the biggest changes? Well,
I think they really finished the year strong last year, got some momentum, got on a roll. We're really playing well, and then that's carried over to this year. A lot of experienced, talented players that chose to come back to Texas. So Coach Smart deserves a lot of credit for getting them all back, and hence the great start.
I know, obviously you're going to be an advocate for coaches, but, there was a lot of heat around Coach Smart and maybe they're going to move on from him. Is this maybe a testament to why you stick with a guy that you believed in at the first place?
No question. I think there's a lot of coaches out there, if they weren't given 5 years and the plug would have been pulled on them sooner, the programs wouldn't be nowhere near where they're at today. So sometimes it just takes time to get your players in. And then more importantly, nowadays with everybody transferring or leaving early to the draft, sometimes it takes even longer. So Coach Smart works extremely hard, does a great job recruiting, does a great job preparing his team to play, and we have a lot of respect for him.
So that's Scott Drew and Baylor at Texas, 2:30, I think it is, on Sunday afternoon at the Farrell Center. And obviously that game will get a lot of attention. Two teams, Texas coming off the loss to Villanova, but very good, had the win against North Carolina. Baylor with the win against Illinois, dominate SFA, and conference play begins. Now you have the Maceo Teague number as well. A comment from Maceo Teague, or did you?
Most of it was just kind of. I just thought that one thing was funny. They asked him about. Jerry asked him about. Do you worry about shooting? He's like, no. It's like they go in and they don't.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Those guys, if you're good, you get beat on a touchdown. If you're a great corner, you go back and out there. A kicker, if you really are good, you go back and you want another kick. If you're a quarterback that throws a pick, a kid that misses a shot, you think Michael Jordan, if he ever missed 3 or 4 in a row, stopped shooting? And if you're good and you're a shooter, you're a scorer. And Maceo was at 0 late into the second half and finally was able to get some things going. But the good thing about this team is that somebody else picked up the slack, whether it's Flagler or Cryer, or, of course, you still have Davion Mitchell and Jared Butler, among others. All right, so that's that. That's Sunday at 2:30. Baylor in Texas in the Big 12 opener.
Be a big game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I watched the Texas-Villanova game. We had the game on with North Carolina here. They're tough now. One of the things about UT is that they've got the guard. They have guards. That's one. Of course, they have the Greg Brown kid, who's the big kid inside. But they have some guards. They got Coleman and, saying that.
The difference in this game, Baylor and Texas, is going to be, and anybody who plays Baylor, can you withstand the wave that's going to come at you? Can you lessen that? Because SFA had to feel pretty good about themselves with about 2 minutes left in the half, thinking like, all right, we had a day to prepare for this game. This is the number 2 team in the country. We've got them in a place where it's reasonable. And then it was like, hey, what's this plug in the wall do?
Yeah.
And then you open it, just the dam burst, and here they come at you.
Courtney Ramey's the guy that got hot in that game with Villanova that kind of almost brought him back at the end. So that's another one of their guards. They got a lot of guards. Fabry, he's good. So we'll see what happens Sunday, Sunday at 2:30 and at the Farrell Center. Looking forward to being a part of that particular environment. 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. Jim Nedley's Mount Vernon, by the way, for those of you asking us to keep that wide open. Kim Mulkey will join us at 4. Coming up next, Grayson Grundhafer, SicEm365.com on recruiting. His thoughts about, what about grad transfers? What about just flat-out transfer portal players, and how much will they get from LSU's roster?
Well, if you've been paying attention to SicEm365.com and are a member of the premium section, where I'm telling you right now, I'd encourage you to become a member regardless any time of the year, but especially right now as we're going to wind down. Basketball season's about to kick in full force, and we know both teams for the Bears are really, really good, but recruiting's going to be very interesting to watch as well. Signing day next week, and then, of course, the entire offseason. And if you've been, point being, reading SicEm365.com, then you're well aware of a potential grad transfer who's already had a couple of predictions to be heading to Baylor. So just throwing that out there. And those are the kind of things that we're going to be discussing with Grayson.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up as well. I put up a hit list, so to speak. Off-season attrition. We'll get to that at some point today because there's a lot that might happen.
Yeah.
And expect it to happen. From the coaching staff to players to those who are in the news or not. And we'll have that, and we'll talk to Grayson a little bit about that as well. Some of the seniors who have an option to come back, are they already with a foot out the door? Seniors that might go, you know what, I could use another year. What does Terrell Bernard do?
Yeah.
How about him? I mean, I would say, Terrell, you got to go to the NFL. And then, of course, unfortunately, the shoulder injury.
He can't
and
practice leading into the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, when can he work out again? Because if he can't work out prior to the draft, I mean, yes, he would still get selected, but probably not nearly as highly as if he was able to go run for some people. Now, maybe a Matt Rule would know better and just go like, can I swipe him?
Yeah.
You idiots don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, stick him on the practice squad or whatever.
Well, no, just draft him because he knows what he can do. But I don't know how many other people really can or really do know what Terrell's capable of. But when I was writing that article, that was what I had in mind. I mean, I'm looking at this list of seniors, and you can go either way for like 5 really big impact guys that we have no idea what they're going to do, and then the coaches and all that. So, yeah, it's going to be fascinating.
This is hanging on my desk at the office I have where I live. And it's an off-season attrition. It'll be interesting to see how much of this turns out to be a part of the next week or two of covering Baylor football.
Do you know what my feeling about this is? Is that there is no one that could leave that would really hurt them.
That's fair. That's fair.
You cannot convince me otherwise.
No, that's fair.
No, let me ask you this. No one that could leave that would not hurt them, that even as a senior that has a year to come back if they wanted to?
Like, they can move on without, like, nobody should panic if somebody decides to leave.
Okay, I get it. No,
you're not going to convince me that,
you don't have,
not that they wouldn't help. I just don't think it would be all, like, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, you'd like to have William Bradley King back for another year, but if he leaves, he leaves. Raleigh Tejada would be one. That would be one.
Yeah, he would be
one. But
one.
I got a feeling he's already on his way, and good luck to him because he's been a fantastic player.
Yeah, and that's what we don't know.
Yeah,
He very well could be, and he might not. I mean, so that's what's going to be really interesting because there are a lot of guys that we consider impact guys. But to Paul's point, like, I'm looking at the list and I'm thinking of names in my head, and there's not anybody that's irreplaceable.
I agree.
Yeah.
When we come back, we'll talk to Grayson about that as well. 4 o'clock, remember, the 817 said, Tejada, that's a big drop-off. I absolutely just said that. Raleigh Tejada is one that would be one you wish he could come back, but I think Raleigh is going to get plenty of interest, and good luck with him no matter what he decides. When we come back, Grayson Grundhafer, Kim Mulkey live at 4, Dave Aranda at 5, and much more in high school football. SicEm365 Radio. Right here in front of me, holiday cuts. Waco Custom Marketplace, holiday gift boxes as well. Holiday items that are popular to have during the holidays. Half spiral hams, pit hams, bone-in hams with various prices per pound. Raw turkeys, whole smoked turkeys, mini pit hams at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. How about the holiday cuts? A bone-in rib roast. You could have select or choice. Depends on what you want. Choice, of course, is even better. At $16.80 a pound, select at $11.55 a pound. You want a 2-pound, 3-pound, 8-pound? You want a big rib roast, bone in or not? They'll do it for you. They'll cut it how you want, specifically how you want it. Boneless rib roast, whole tenderloins, trimmed tenderloins. And then there's holiday gift boxes I've told you about. Whether you want 4 ribeyes, 4 New York strips, or 4 bacon-wrapped fillets that are in the range of anywhere from like $50 to $70. You want lobster tails? They can include that inside of a box with bacon-wrapped fillets. I'm telling you, it's perfect. And there's also a gift box that's got snacks in it, crackers and various like horn cheese and summer sausage. They've got it there for you. Good gifts for clients, friends, family, or you. Waco Custom Marketplace, working hard for you. You have no idea how hard that family's been working to make sure they get what you want, what you eat at restaurants if you go out, or what you eat at home to you. And available at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
The holidays are here, and I have a simple question for you. Will you weigh as much more or less than you do right now when the holidays are over? Why not end the year in better shape than when you started and create momentum for 2021? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has numerous options for stocking stuffer gifts with gift cards for gym or tennis membership, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, tennis lessons, and personal training. Perhaps a gift for a client, a family member, or a friend. You just need to walk through the front door to change your life. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. Spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation. A tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So get the best and healthiest Christmas gift you can for someone or yourself. It's time to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Grayson Grundhafer of SicEm365.com. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
All right, here we go, this 3 o'clock hour. Mac Road started off. Scott Drew, bottom of the hour, about the game Texas on Sunday. And now Grayson Grundhafer joins us, SicEm365.com. Grayson, I teased your segment. Craig was telling me about some of what you've written. Of course, you're constantly in that premium section about what's going on with recruiting. Let's start with the potential interest from any kind of either grad transfers or transfers in general at this point.
Yeah, so I think the first place that we need to start is Siaki Ika, the nose tackle out of LSU. That has kind of been the biggest, I think, storyline since it was pretty obvious Baylor was going to dip into the transfer portal. He was the first name. It seems like he was a name who Dave Aranda and staff were obviously familiar with. Dennis Johnson was his lead recruiter at LSU. So that's going to be a battle, guys. Siaki Ika, very good player. Absolutely massive, well over 320 pounds, and a guy who could come in and immediately impact the defense. And like I said, that built-in relationship with the staff already makes him fairly likely, but he is from Utah, and Utah, the Utes are going after him very hard. So this could be kind of a head-to-head battle for him. And then one more that I'll say to just kind of keep an eye on, there's going to be a lot through the coming weeks and days as Baylor tries to round out the class. But Lamonte McDougal, the Washington State defensive lineman, he also played at West Virginia his freshman year. So he's a guy, pretty good player, has had decent runs, decent stats, was a lot better with West Virginia than he was with Washington State. But now he's got the ability to go somewhere else, and Baylor could be a potential landing spot as he's already been in contact with staff.
Grayson, what do you expect obviously signing day is next week, but what do you expect the transfer timetable to look like and how that affects how people approach their rosters and the February signing day?
Yeah, I think that there could be some that happen much sooner than others. I guess there was one more that I need to mention. Drew Estrada, he's a Dartmouth grad transfer, and Baylor offered him already. And so there are certain variables that go into play here. I think that if Baylor has shown a ton of interest in a guy like Siaki Ika or Drew Estrada, they would probably take them early since they've already kind of built that relationship and know what they're about and know what they're getting in those two players. But I also think that they want to wait a little bit and make sure that they have room at the end if guys enter the portal later, if guys take a while to make a decision. And I think it's going to be a real test for a lot of programs around the country as far as, do you get tempted by the guys that enter the portal quickly, or do you wait a little bit and hopefully catch a big fish at the very end of the potential cycle? So I do think there's going to be some moving parts there, and I think you could see transfers happen quickly, but then I think you'll also see some happen a little bit later.
Grayson, to the best of your knowledge, because I haven't asked you in a while, what kind of scholarship situation are they working with? I know they had, obviously a few decommitments, so that opened up, 3 or 4. They've had Logan Compton and now Yusuf Terry. There's another couple. And, back when the season hadn't started yet and their class was almost full, we were asking the question of, where's the room? Where's the room to add anybody? Now the question is, how much room do they have?
Yeah, and the problem with that is the fact that seniors can come back. How is that scholarship situation exactly going to work out? How many transfers is Baylor going to lose? Because, to be honest, most programs around the country are going to have attrition, and I don't think Baylor is going to be immune from that. And so, therefore, it's kind of a moving target. I would say with this specific class, I think the number is going to be right around 22, 23. Is kind of the number that I think they're working with. But then you throw in transfers, which aren't going to be a part of the 2021 class necessarily, that will also factor into the numbers and how they're able to kind of shift and move things around. But yeah, Craig, this is where things are going to get very interesting very quickly with what happens with the current Baylor roster, the players on it, the seniors on it, and then also just the players who are making a decision whether they want to continue on with Baylor or not.
I did a little bit of background. I know Sam Carroll put up on his feed that he is going to look around. I think we all know this was kind of one of those things where both went different directions. I hate it for Sam because he's graduated early. He did get an offer from Stephen F. Austin. There's interest from Washington State, North Dakota State, and the New Mexico schools as well. But do you feel like part of the fact that he's no longer a part of the class is also because of some of the transfers coming in at the defensive line position, or could come in at the defensive line position?
Yeah, I think that that's a part of it. Absolutely. And I know it's a tough situation for him. And really this whole, I'd probably say 5-month period for him has been really bad because they didn't get to play football in New Mexico. So he's kind of just been training on his own for a while now. So I know this has been, I'm sure, very tough for him, but I do expect him to land in a pretty good situation somewhere else. And as far as Baylor goes, I mean, you would think that defensive line is a spot that they're definitely going to address, but it looks to me like this staff wants to address that with more veteran guys than freshmen necessarily. And so there's only really one name on the board right now, and that's Sam Rayburn's Jalen Samuels as far as a defensive lineman that they're pursuing up towards signing day. And so maybe with the second signing day period, they find some other guys. But right now, I mean, it looks like they're maybe only going to take 2 or 3 defensive linemen as freshmen, which tells you all you need to know about where they're going to be looking as far as transfers go.
Well, right now they have 3 offensive linemen commits. What do you think that number that they would like that to get to ideally?
Yeah, that is a number that they were hoping would be up near 5. I know one of their big targets, Remington Strickland out of Fort Bend Christian, he's making his decision today. I actually expect that to probably be Texas A&M. I think it's really coming down to A&M or OU for him, but I do believe A&M will be the likely landing spot. So that's a miss for Baylor. So now they're left with 3. They really only have one guy on the board leading up to signing day, and that's Jeremiah Crawford, the JUCO target, because it looks like their other options are probably going to go elsewhere. So if Baylor doesn't land anyone and they have 3 guys, I mean, I can almost guarantee you they will be looking to add another freshman heading into the February signing period. And also they're definitely going to hit the transfer portal for at least one.
So, Grayson, it looks like we're going to watch a football game tomorrow as it stands right now. And as of yesterday, that was a little bit dicey. But how big of a deal do you think it is for this team to just have one more opportunity together to play at home one more time and perhaps get a win as well?
Yeah, it's huge. And I know this is becoming commonplace to say it's huge just to play a football game, but it really is. I mean, there's a lot of guys on this roster who don't have a ton of experience, and it's great to just get them out there and be able to play a football game. It's great for the seniors who are maybe contemplating what they're going to do in their future, if they're going to stay at Baylor and move on. It's great for them to get this opportunity to go out and play in McLean Stadium for potentially the last time. And so I think overall it's a win-win situation. Baylor gets to have another football game, gets to have another great environment, and Dave Aranda and company have a great opportunity here to potentially add to the momentum that they built a little bit later on in the season.
Grayson, thank you. Appreciate it. It ought to be really interesting. Of course, National Signing Day being next week. We'll be in touch with you. We'll have coverage there. Might get you on even earlier than just Friday. Thanks for your time, and good luck trying to track all of this down, those who are coming in, those who might be coming out, going out, and everything else in between. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys.
Grayson Grunhafer, who's become really annoying in the pick'em, by the way. Yeah. Last night he picked both games.
By the way, aren't we having is there a signing day special before our show?
Yeah.
Next week with all of them. He'll be here in studio.
Yeah, everybody full throttle next Wednesday from start to finish. We've already been in contact with various people about what we'll have on Wednesday, but it'll be throughout the day. And you might even hear players a couple of different times from different people. When we come back, Kim Mulkey and their Lady Bears, after the loss on Sunday to Arkansas, in the second half, they just flexed their muscles, the championship pedigree, and hammered West Virginia by 20. And everybody chipped in. Dejanay Carrington, her best game. Moon Urson was everywhere. Dee looked great, among others. And we'll come back and ask Kim Mulkey about many things, Lady Bears basketball. And then a Mart football player at 4:15. Lee Sterling on Vegas and college and pro football at 4:30 or so. We're not done. A lot to do. Temple and Riker featured at 4:45. This is SicEm365 Radio. IdealMRI.com. If you have something that's more than just maybe sore, something that you feel like is keeping you up, you can't sleep well, you get up in the middle of the night and, you feel like it might even be, you don't know if it's something that's a muscle spasm or something that's a pulled muscle or a nerve issue. I've had some of those nerve things at times and it feels like somebody just took a muscle and cut it in half. But something's bothering you. And sometimes you have to just get x-rays. But in the end, if it's bad enough, they're going to want to also look at an MRI. Your doctor may say, we need to get an MRI on what that is that's hurting. Something broken, torn, or something that, it might be worse, right? IdealMRI.com in the Central Texas marketplace is here for you, there for you. Huge state-of-the-art technology when it comes to their MRI machine. It is absolutely the mother lode to see everything that needs to be seen in your shoulder, in your leg, your knee, your ankle, whatever it might be. Your shoulder, your knee. It could be something broken, they'll find it. If it's something that's torn, they're going to find it. And then what's great about it is IdealMRI.com, get online or call them. Set up the appointment. When you get there, they're going to absolutely make sure you're comfortable with everything that's going to happen. And sometimes an MRI experience, because you're going to go inside that tunnel, it depends on who you are. It can get a little bit dicey. I did it back in late March. It was a fantastic experience. And then I got a call from Dr. Rob Maxey, and he said, hey, David, this is what's there. We kind of knew it, but then it was confirmed. Told my orthopedic surgeon, Dr. David Hames, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. He said, yep. He got it too. He's the one that got a picture of it too. It's amazing. It's thorough. And the most important thing, $497 or less instead of $1,000 or $2,000 or more. Ideal MRI. We're proud to be attached to them and vice versa. It's IdealMRI.com.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army radiologists. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Waco Custom Marketplace is your home for holiday favorites for parties and the time with family. Various specials available in-store and online. A variety of steak gift boxes with 4 ribeyes for $70, 4 bacon wrapped fillets for $55, or 4 New York strips for $50, and all come with steak butter. Fall snack box for watching a game or wrapping presents or hosting people at your house, including summer sausage, split horn, and jalapeno cheese and salted crackers for only $35. 2 pieces of lobster tails with herb butter and 2 bacon wrapped fillets for $60. Order online or call in advance to ensure availability, or drop by Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive. Waco Custom Marketplace has a full-service butcher shop for customized orders or cuts of your favorite steaks or beef tenderloin or specially ordered prime rib roast. Plus, what you want with pork, poultry, seafood, and more. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or wacocustommarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
We just do what we do. We coach kids, and you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. My gosh, we've won a lot of basketball games and championships, and we've got a team that is young and inexperienced, and kids that are now in different roles. They just need to play.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go, this 4 o'clock hour. Last night in West Virginia, Baylor women flexed their muscles. They beat West Virginia. They took over the second half. Everybody seemed to contribute. And we're now joined by Hall of Fame coach Kim Mulkey on SicEm365 Radio. You know, Kim, I asked you a question last night. If you don't mind, we'll start with this, about Coach K. And you were very thorough about it. He has come out and said he's not so sure what they're doing in college basketball is the right thing. You kind of tend to agree with him. Is that correct? On at least, hey, are we doing the right thing? And by the way, thanks for being a part of the show.
Well, you know, it's almost like if you give your opinion about COVID, it now becomes political. So I'm going to try to give my opinion on me as a person, not a basketball coach. COVID is real. COVID has killed a lot of people. I'm not afraid of COVID. If I get it, I die. My family, you know, will go on. It's not callous. It's not cold. I'm not going to live my life in fear. I'm going to be smart. I'm going to be cautious. But you got to keep living, guys. I don't know exactly what Coach K is saying, but I'm going to interpret it the way that I take it. How do you do an adequate and a very good job under the protocols and procedures that are in place is very difficult. So when I say put an asterisk by 2020, that's not to take away those that win championships or anything like that. It's just 50 years from now, you're going to go back and look through the record books and go, wait a minute, what now? They didn't make the playoffs? What do you mean? Their record, they didn't even play the same number of games. So if you don't put an asterisk and explain it, then people aren't going to know. When you get on a plane and you have to put a mask and you have to put goggles on and you have to put a shield on to go play a game, and you don't even allow fans in the stands, and then some places do allow and encourage fans in the stands, there's just so much hypocrisy that I don't know which way to. One day I feel one way and the next day I feel another way. If I'm a student athlete I'm wanting to play. All student athletes want to play. Hell, when they tear their knees up, they think they can run back on the field and play. But it's such a mental drain right now to not know from game to game, week to week, day to day, hour to hour, what's going to happen. Now, I'm just speaking for college athletics and my job. I know there are worse things out there. There are people that are shutting down businesses. There are people that are going bankrupt. I get every bit of that. He's just speaking from the perspective of, are we doing the right thing? It has nothing to do with him losing games. He's been preaching this from the very beginning. I've been in a depression since March the 12th because I still say, why didn't my three seniors from last year get their year back, but 6 months later, before the season ever starts, we start giving kids an extra year? Well, what's the difference in 6 months? So it's just the frustration, I think, of, are we really doing the right thing? Because at the end of the day, guys, you know what we're doing it for. We're doing it for the almighty dollar. The NCAA has to have March Madness. I'm talking about for the men. They don't make any money off women's sports. But for the men, they have to have it to stay afloat. Football is a different animal. You know, they're the college football playoffs, so they don't deal with the NCAA and money. You're seeing how many bowl games that have been canceled now. It's just, I think we're all mental midgets right now. I think that everybody in society is a mental midget. We all have difference of opinions, but at the end of the day, I think we're just exhausted.
Kim, you pretty much put exactly how I feel on a day-to-day basis of how are we supposed to feel about that? Like, I go to a restaurant, does the tortilla chip I put in front of my face stop COVID? Because I can wear it, I can take my mask off and all that. It's very confusing, everything that's going on. Have you this year had to do more work making sure your players are focused mentally and okay mentally and locked in mentally than in normal years?
Well, for a lot of reasons, not just COVID, dealing with the racial unrest in the summer when they weren't around and you couldn't hug them and you couldn't see and couldn't feel them. There's so many things that have taken place in 2020 that has just disrupted a lot of things. So, you know, I think when you get on the court, it's like with anything, you forget for 2 or 3 hours and you just have fun and you play. And that's going to continue. But what you're trying to say, I think, if you're Coach K, is that it's not about just showing up and playing. And that has to be what the mentality, as we've been told, we don't care about wins and losses. We just need you to play the games. Well, hell, if you don't care about wins and losses, then why are coaches being fired in the middle of the season? Mm-hmm. And it's tough. It is very difficult when you have a team that needs lots of coaching. It's very difficult when you need a team that needs lots of time on that court. I didn't even have my team from March the 12th. When we put it down till July 29th, they were at home with their families as they should have been. So you missed out on all of that one-on-one individual workout time, and you need that when you have a young team. And when I say teams that will succeed this year will be those that have the most returning players and the most experienced players, because there's not a whole heck of a lot of coaching going on this year, guys. There just isn't.
You know, that's interesting, because I was actually going to ask you about, you know, where you guys are right now versus where you would normally be. And we've spent the last few months, you know, talking about, for example, with football, Aranda being a first-year head coach, and then just the lead-in. Where would you be in comparison to where you are right now under normal circumstances? Like, how much have you lost out on?
Well, let's start with the cancellation of games. Mm-hmm. Let's start with 2 non-conference games, or not non-conference, the exhibition games, 4 or 5 WNIT games that would have been played at home. So those games could have prepared you for the South Florida games better, and the Arkansas loss and the West Virginia game last night. It just gives you a more confident and comfortable team. So just the fact that you would have been playing more in the summer, you would have been in the gym with them and just get to know them a little better. Right now, I don't really know yet who my best 5 are on the floor at certain times. It's like I'm learning as they are during the course of a game.
When Coach K says, and I hope you understand what I'm saying here. When Coach K says he's not so sure the season should go on yet or should not have been pushed back, he understands what you said, right? That the money, he's making more money maybe as a basketball coach than anybody. There may be a few others that are, but it's not just the money he makes, it's the money it's generated and also those on staff who get paid because of the games, right?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I understand. That's like saying if you think women's basketball survives without the men's money and football money and men's basketball money, you're kidding yourself. March Madness pays a lot of bills, as does college football playoffs, pays a lot of bills. So he gets it. The struggle you have as an adult and as a coach is, why are we really doing this? Are we doing this to win championships, or are we doing it just to pay bills and stay afloat? So, it's just it's a dilemma where it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. And you look around, and I think it gets personal with some because people have lost lives, and it becomes real personal when you're coaching kids who opt out. Opting out, I mean, okay, they're opting out for a lot of reasons. Look at your college football. Let's use LSU as an example. They go from a national championship in 1 year. They opt out at the beginning of the season. They opt out during the season. They opt out, and how do you coach that? I mean, how do you have success, and how do you go to work every day and keep those that stay there focused? Again, I've been told we've got to play a basketball game. If we only have 6 players, we got to play 6 players now. And so I've got to have a mindset that 6 players. So tell them don't guard anybody, because my team, we're going to foul. So don't guard anybody, but it's just go play. And so it's difficult. Most coaches, guys, are type A personalities. They're in control of situations. They go into a game and they have adjustments made through the course of a game. It's all gone now. The 6 players, or when anything happens with COVID, if 1 or 2 are taken out of the lineup, if in the middle of the season a kid decides to opt out, so it's difficult. And I want to reiterate again, guys. Listen, we're blessed to coach collegiate athletics. We get that. There are far worse things right now in this world than us being confused on why are we doing this. I think it's unusual when you go to a gym and some allow, like Baylor, we allow 2,500 people in our games. We go to West Virginia last night. You want to know how many were in that gym? 45. And those were the families. My coaches counted them. Those were the families, members of those on West Virginia's team, because they're not allowing anybody in the arena. So it's strange. It's weird. It's uncomfortable. And it's not going away, guys. It's not going away. If we're supposed to follow our leaders, and Fauci, is the one most people follow, the third quarter of 2021 is when we think we'll get some sense of normalcy. That's about this time next year, is it not?
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
About as long as it is away from when we started this, back in March. Kim, if you sit there and you mention about whether or not you're playing. I know you're going to go out and win every game you possibly can and coach your kids as hard as you can. And they're going to play for you as hard as they can. That's why they're at Baylor and maybe not somewhere else. Is there any concern if the players may get the wrong feeling about whether or not the season should go on? Are they going to still give everything they have while they have the games?
No, I think especially with women's basketball, you're not seeing opting out. You're not going to see things like that because our circumstances are different. Kids are going to feed off of coaches. And I feel like that I have to be very careful on not just saying, oh, the hell with this season, it's a wash.
Yep.
Okay. You don't want to do that. But at the same time, I also can't be overly hard on them with the understanding that I'm wanting them to be further along, but I didn't have gym time with those guys, you know. So be fair as well and keep a cool head about you on your expectations at this point in the season, because it's very different than what it would be.
Kim, you mentioned not having the gym time, and earlier you mentioned about not getting to see the kind of the day-to-day thing. How much, and I've heard this from a couple other coaches, is just the non-basketball camaraderie time that you would get in off-season hurting you as well, just in building trust and chemistry with your new players?
Well, yes. Your freshmen, think about this, guys. Your freshmen, they have no idea what it feels like to be a normal college student athlete, because it's, oh my gosh, I'm quarantined today. Oh my gosh, no practice today. I can't even go lift weights today. I can't even visit. You know, they don't know what it's supposed to be like. And your freshman year is your most exciting year. It's also your most frustrating year, because for the first time in your life, you're having to either redshirt or share minutes or not get any minutes. But they're just looking around like, this is really different. The returning players that you have know what the difference is, and they're really being very very good about it and handling everything, probably handling it better than coaches are.
Kim, how did you feel about the win last night over West Virginia?
Well, your concern, you know, my concern is you go to Arkansas and you play a very good Arkansas team on their floor. You know, goes down to the wire, you lose. And so you got to move on beyond that. And my concern was mentally, are we the type of team that can do that, being so young and inexperienced? And I thought that we handled it well. It helps when you can hit some perimeter shots like Carrington and Moon did. We got in foul trouble again, and that's a work in progress. They're going to have to figure it out. And I thought that we handled it well. And I thought, again, our defense, you know, just keeps us in ball games when we're not shooting it well. And it'll keep us in ball games until we grow up a little bit.
Kim, you have one player who's on your roster. There's transfers coming in, and you have been very successful with them. But in April, late April, Jaden, I can mention her. She's on your roster. Jaden Owens decides to transfer. You have all these opt-outs and free portal, and basically it's like a highway with no stoplights, right? No backup traffic. Why was she not able to play immediately compared to others that are getting immediate transfers since she lives in Texas?
You know, transfer waivers have been the biggest gripe from my coaching staff, because we feel like we're watching all these players get waivers and we don't understand it. There are million reasons why the NCAA gives players waivers. It can be now from they were mentally whatever there and they have paperwork that they were seeing counseling. It could be a coaching change. It can be a lot of things. We tried. And now you can even go back to the previous school that you left and ask them if they would sign off on a waiver, and they can. They have the option and can do that if they choose to do it. We've done it all to try to get Jaden eligible. Now I think in the next week or so they're going to vote, to see if, because of COVID, can we just grant everybody a waiver and everybody starts playing. We actually took her to West Virginia with us, thinking yesterday they may vote on it and she would be immediately eligible. We also have Kamaria McDaniel, guys. Yep. That's a player, and nobody has seen her. I'm telling you, the kid could have helped us tremendously in the Arkansas game. She was, the leading scorer at Penn State, all Big Ten. She just had knee surgery, but she's a young lady that couldn't get eligible because of, at Baylor we have I can't tell you exactly the rule, but you lose hours in certain things, and so because she was a semester away from graduating at Penn State, and she chose to come here and lose hours, which would delay her graduating, and she didn't care because she's a great student. She didn't care. And we wouldn't have been able to get her eligible regardless, because that's kind of like they say, well, you're academically ineligible because we had to take those hours away from you, when you transferred. So it's just nuts how all this transfer stuff operates, and it's frustrating to us because we never know how these kids just could go immediately and get eligible because we don't have access to the NCAA giving us, private information.
When we had Mac Rhodes on a couple of days ago, we were asking him about the upcoming offseason with football now ending, the thoughts that there will be transfers galore, and he actually expressed more concern for the following year when everything will have to return to normal as far as scholarship limitations. What are your thoughts on just how crazy this could potentially get in college athletics with how free and easy it seems to be, how free and clear it is for people to move around? I mean, do you think it's going to get pretty nuts, or do you think it's maybe being blown out of proportion?
No, I thought 2 years ago when we started this transfer portal stuff, I said, my gosh, it's like free agency in baseball. Let's just line up every morning. Your job every morning as an assistant coach is to turn that computer on. Your job every night when you go to bed is to turn that computer on and see who is put in the transfer portal. And I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be the demise of a lot of coaches. Because, guys, in 1 year, let's say you get a group and they decide 3 or 4 of them they want to transfer out. Well, heck, we're going to have to get on that. It's difficult, and I get it in pro sports, but in college, it can really devastate a program quickly.
Kim, I know you got to go. We do as well. You've given us more time than we asked for, and appreciate all your opinions and feedback. On last night's game, one thing, Moon Urson was everywhere. I had somebody on staff tell me they've seen Moon hands quickly play defense with her hands, but it was like tip to buzzer on where she was defensively. Is that one of the better defensive games you've seen her play?
Well, yes, it was. Moon's confidence is going back to where she was before her accident with Dee. Moon was like a lot of us. She lost a grandmother to COVID, spent all that time at home. She needed to be here and active with us, and she wasn't. So we had to get her back mentally when she got back. And then she had the accident, and, she's just like, in a state where we all are, where we just mentally, it's like, what's going on? And so I think she's working her way back to where she was prior to her accident. And, she graduated. She and Trinity Oliver both graduated this week. In fact, they were apart right in the middle of our film session at West Virginia. They had to leave and go be a part of a virtual graduation ceremony. I mean, just things like that break your heart. These kids, don't get to walk across the stage. And but anyway, as I tell you, woe is me, but at the same time, there are worse things and people in worse shape than we are.
Kim, thank you very much. Great win last night. Coach. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Guys, you're welcome. Take care now.
Kim Mulkey, head basketball coach at Baylor. They beat West Virginia. Thanks for her time. Appreciate Kyle Robarts as well. Coming up next, rapid fire. Micah Saul's an offensive lineman on the Mart football team. We'll have Lee Sterling as well. We'll have Temple and Riker and much more, including conversation with Dave Aranda. We are not nearly done. A lot to get to. Thank you, Armstrong and Jack, for weaving in and out of all of what we've been able to throw your way today. This is SicEm365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, employee pricing for all on almost every vehicle they have. Nearly every vehicle has 0% financing for 60, 72, or 84 months. And every vehicle, the new ones, no payments for 90 days. And for the third consecutive year, beautiful Ram trucks, loyalty, rugged, durable, incredible. Third consecutive year, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year. Nothing comes close to a Ram truck. The most awarded SUV in history is Jeep. Big-time incentives on the Cherokees, also even on the Gladiator, and King of Minivans available with all sorts of incentives. The Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid, including $9,500 in values. It's the most luxurious family ride around. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Drop by Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco or AlanSamuelsDCJ.com.
With more
more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Listen, in the past couple of years, we've had a lot of people moving in from out of state to Waco thanks to Chipper and JoJo. And while we welcome these new citizens, they unfortunately brought some of their bad habits with them. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, and you know what I'm talking about. Naked trucks. You'd think everyone moved here from McNewtville. But we shouldn't judge them, we should help them. For example, when you see a recent transplant truck from a less civilized state like California, instead of saying, "Your truck is disgusting, your bed is exposed, get a bed cover on that truck, buddy," that's a bit harsh. Instead, try something like, in Texas, it's not polite to drive around with your bed exposed. Maybe you should check out the excellent selection of bed covers at Pickup Outfitters. And then if they refuse, you can say, "Well, I hear New Mexico's a nice state." Let's help our new neighbors and let them know that truck nudity is not okay. Let them know about Pickup Outfitters of Waco and send them to our website, createacommotion.com.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
All right, you guys have an update on that Mount Vernon score? Either one of you? I thought it was 10-7 at halftime. Jim Ned out of Tuscola leading Mount Vernon 10-7. We'll update you. We told you last night, Crawford beaten by Post 28-14. Mart was able to take care of their business, and they beat Fall City 48-21. Windthorst next Wednesday night for the 2A Division II state championship game. We're now joined by Micah Sauls, offensive lineman for Mart. He's been a part of 2 of the 4 state championship trips, now 3 of the 4 the last couple of years as well. Micah, thanks for your time. And as always, it seems like you guys just take care of business. Your thoughts about another state championship appearance and what it means to you and the program?
Oh, it's a blessing. For us, it's been a dream of ours since we got into athletics in middle school that we wanted to do this for the town, for everybody in it, for the school, for the coaches. And it's just been an honor to do it with that Mart name across your chest.
How much, I mean, you say it's not, how much pressure is there, though, because of the history? Do you put it on yourself or is there around?
It's usually a lot of pressure. You have all the older guys telling you how it was to win a state championship, and they put a lot of pressure on you to win those each year in and year out.
What is your earliest memory of Mart football?
Going to the games about around second grade, have just the atmosphere, how loud it was, how many people came, just how many people loved the Mart Panthers.
Did you have someone in your family that was a part of Mart football as you were growing up?
My dad was a part of the 99 state championship team, and then my grandpa was a part of my grandpa's brother was a part of the 69 team.
Do you flex on them with more rings?
Yeah, do they? Yeah, do you kind of, like Craig just said, you got to put your fingers up there with, I got 2 rings, about to have 3.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sir. I joke around with my dad all the time, and he usually hits me back with the, you don't have a perfect season yet. So
That's awesome. Yeah, so in other words, when you're younger, you are born, and then they just inject you with purple and gold. Is that what they do with Mart Panther blood?
Oh, yes, sir. They instill it in you early that you're going to play football, and when it's just when you're young, they start you young, and you start from Pee-wee, and you just work your way up from there.
Micah Saul's with us on SicEm365 Radio. Mart will play Windthorst next Wednesday night at AT&T Stadium for the 2A Class 2A Division II state championship game.
What do you have a good Coach Hoffman story for us? Every time he's on the show, I don't know if he means to crack us up, but he does.
Oh, he's always popping out jokes all the time around school, on the practice field. I don't know. I think there's too many stories to tell, but he usually likes to joke around with us a lot and get us laughing. But yeah, he's a jokester.
So what has this season been like for you and your teammates personally? You know, just we all know what's been going on in the world, but here you are, you're close to the finish line, and unlike a lot of other teams, you're right where you want to be. How difficult has this been for you as a young man and your teammates as well, just trying to navigate through what all you're dealing with?
It's been tough on a lot of us, you know, because if you're around somebody, if something happens like that, you miss 2 weeks. And I know a lot of our teammates have missed due to close contact, and that's been just not even having it, but being around people that have had it. That's been the struggle. And I know most of my class, my senior class, has missed it. I think only 2 of us haven't. Myself and Rodrell haven't been quarantined, but yeah, it's been an up and down roller coaster of emotions throughout the year of if we not when it happens, but if it happens.
So you're in the championship game, Micah. You've been there before. It's not like this is your first rodeo, as you mentioned. You have the rings. You have the experience. Windthorst beat Wellington last night in a defensive struggle. You guys score a bunch of points, but your defense can be underrated as well. It's a Wednesday night game. Your thoughts about the preparation, the quick turnaround, and playing for another title?
This is what we've kind of been prepared for the last few years. I mean, just the quick turnarounds. I think 18 we might have played on a Wednesday, I think, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, I don't think it's a big deal for our team being able to turn it around because they just love the game of football, and they're going to do whatever it takes to get that 4th one.
Rodrell Freeman, Clydarian Campbell. Last night, Medlock went off with a huge game in the win against Falls City. And there's others that also continue to make plays. As an offensive lineman, what is it like knowing those behind you are so good to want to give them that little extra inch of opening?
Oh, man, you want to go from whistle to whistle every time so you can see them in the back of that end zone celebrating and just doing what it takes to make sure they're there. And sometimes I know myself, I might get a little bit excited and I might go past the whistle, and it's kind of tough sometimes. But yeah, you want to get that extra push, that extra go, so you can see them back there, because you know that little push, it makes a big difference, and they're going to hit that hole, and they're going to do what they're going to do.
Keyshawn Clater's another one. You got so many weapons. All right, so back when you were a sophomore in the state championship run, you played, I think you were at left guard, and then you went to right guard, and now you're back at guard on the other side. Would you mind sharing your story about playing with pain and what it meant and what you dealt with when you did?
Yeah, so when it happened about middle of district play, I got my arm caught up. Something happened, and I just started to feel pain down my arm. And I thought it was a stinger, so I was just going to shake it off. And so as the year went on, and I started playing more, I would get it hung, or I'd get it hit and it start burning. And I just kept on fighting through, because I knew that the team needed me, and I had to do what I had to do. And so I just kept on fighting through, and I didn't end up telling anybody that I was hurt until I think it was January 1st. I called Coach Hoffman, and I ended up telling him that something was wrong, and he ended up taking me to the doctor. And Dr. Wolf from Elite Sports Medicine ended up telling me that I had torn my posterior labrum, and then I've been playing the whole season with the torn shoulder. So, I mean, fighting through pain, it was worth it in the long run, because we ended up winning that state championship in the way we did. But fighting through pain, sometimes you just got to do it.
It's worth it, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any lingering, like you don't sleep well? I mean, you got it fixed, so you're better, right? You're not having anything that's because you waited too late?
No, not really late. It was kind of worse in the 19th season, because I did wait a little later because I wanted to try to play baseball. So I got it around March, and then I waited a little late, and it kind of hurt me around 19, just that scar tissue trying to rub out and stuff like that. But usually it might hurt a little bit when it gets cold here and there, but it's been pretty nice around here. So
that's only supposed to happen to older people like me that have had aches and pains that get when it gets cold. Micah, congratulations. First of all, love the story about how you played through the pain, and it was worth it, and good luck with it. Good luck next Wednesday night to bring back a state championship again. I was out at your stadium and the brand new school on, Tuesday. My goodness, what an upgrade that Mart ISD has put together with all of that. What are your thoughts among the rest of the student body about Mart ISD and the upgrades?
Man, what they've done with the school is it's gorgeous. I remember walking in the first day and being able to look around and see where we have came. Thanks to the Davis family for all the contributions to get that happening like that, and all of the ex-students that donated for those stones that sit out in front of our weight room. So, I mean, it's gorgeous. I love it. And thanks to all that came before, and it means a lot.
Thank you for being a part of the show. Sorry we're a little bit later than we said, Micah. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I know you guys got to get focused on Windthorst. Good luck. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
That's Micah Sauls, offensive lineman at Mart. 3 opportunities to win 3 rings. Can you imagine hanging around your father, grandfather's brother, and you do like one of these, hey, how about these?
Well, I mean, can you imagine having an uncle and a father and probably various other family members who all have state title rings?
Yep, and you need to go get one, right?
That's the thing about that community is, you don't have that kind of consistency except for at schools like Mart. So, yeah, that's awesome, and it's fun that he's, as the youngest member, able to kind of dunk on them a little bit with the fact that he's got more than one and might have another one coming up next week. But, yeah, good young man, and good for Mart being back in the dance like they belong to be.
We've heard from Kim Mulkey, Scott Drew, Mac Rhodes on many people that have had to make adjustments when it comes to getting ready for games that are played or not. Well, how about Lee Sterling when he finds out Texas, Kansas, and Oklahoma and West Virginia both were canceled, and how that affects what he talks with us about? So we're going to replace those games and still get into Baylor, Oklahoma State, which is still on Well, it's on. It's on go for 2:30 tomorrow. Lee, thanks for your time. Appreciate you coming on later. Let's start with Georgia. Minus 13 against Missouri in the SEC.
So 2 teams on the way up. Both teams are playing hard. I think they're setting themselves up for a good 2021 campaign. When you look sometimes at raw numbers, it doesn't tell the true story. Missouri has a top 20 run defense, but they've only played one decent offense, which was Alabama. Georgia's offensive line is huge. Every kid on their offensive line goes 6'4", 6'5". Lightest guy is 325. I think they're going to lean on an undersized Missouri defensive line here and then use play action, go up top. Missouri likes to do the same thing with their offense. The only thing is their offensive line is a little bit smaller. Even though Roundtree's a good running back, he's not quite at the level of the top 3 guys for Georgia. I call Missouri Georgia light. I like Georgia here, 35-13.
All right, Lee, Buffalo and Pittsburgh in the NFL. This game's really interesting now that Pittsburgh's coming off a loss.
It is, and I've been telling people for a long time, 3-4 weeks, that Pittsburgh could be had. They finally go down big with a thud. We loved Washington with our service on Monday, but sometimes when a team hits bottom, good teams, they come right back up. They had a lot of guys on defense that were freelancing, just not performing their assignments. And I think it was probably pointed out to them in film study. And now they're going to face a Buffalo team who beat them last year 17-10. But who was the quarterback for Pittsburgh in that game? Devlin, the Duck Hodges. And he threw 4 interceptions. I think Pittsburgh's going to hit on some big plays against Buffalo. Buffalo's secondary was okay last year. What's the difference? Last year, they had 7 players on the defensive line they rotated. This year, only 5 of those guys came back. I like Pittsburgh. They bounced back 28-20.
Lee, Baylor hosts their home finale tomorrow against Oklahoma State. That game got a little dicey yesterday with news about COVID, but they're going to play. Your thoughts on the Bears and the Cowboys?
So I think that the Cowboys, the problem here with Sanders, when he has everyone, I think he's pretty good. But without Wallace and without Chubba Hubbard, he's not been the same. Only 2 touchdown passes in the last 4 games. I think Mike Gundy's play calling has not been great here. Charlie Brewer still taking on all comers and put the ball in the air 56 times to earn a late spread cover here versus Oklahoma. So at this stage, I would rather not lay points on the road with the Stillwater bunch. I think Baylor's gonna end their season on a high note. I have winning this game here, 23-20.
Indianapolis, the Colts, and Vegas, the Raiders, who are up and down like an elevator shaft.
Oh, wow. I mean, they can't beat anyone who's bad, or at least they have trouble. I mean, they lose to Atlanta a couple weeks ago, a miracle win against the winless Jets last week. But who have they beaten? The 2 best teams maybe in the NFL, and the Chiefs and the Saints here. Derek Carr finally looks comfortable in John Gruden's complex offense. Maybe his finest season here, 22 touchdown passes. He has a top 12 passer rating. I'm watching Indianapolis. They're all 5 tough games in a row. I think they're played out here. Las Vegas pulls the upset. Wrong team's favored. Give me the Raiders 28-25.
The Chiefs and the Dolphins lead. The Chiefs getting 7 points.
Yeah, so the Dolphins at 8-4, clearly probably a year ahead of schedule on this rebuild plan. Roster still not where it needs to be. Probably need another year. They get Houston's number 1 and number 2 next year. Should help them out. But how are they winning? 21 takeaways and incredible special teams. But I think the Chiefs are going to be ready for this game. It's the national game. There's only 1 team in each conference that gets a first-round bye. They've won 11 straight road games here. The matchup to watch is Miami cornerback Xavier Howard. He leads the league with 8 interceptions, and he's missed 3 games. So he's going to be matched up a lot of times with the Cheetah, Tyreek Hill, or Travis Kelce. Problem is he can't cover both of them. I think Kansas City's just at a different level, and they'll be ready 38-24.
And Xavier is a Baylor guy, so we love that he's having so much success. Meanwhile, Lee, LSU, been a tough season following the national title. Florida's had a great year. Gators and Tigers, Florida, huge favorites in this one.
Yeah, they want to get this game Just give us a call, 800-400-9741. We'll give you the game for free. First 10 callers to call, 800-400-9741. And what a year it's been. Almost had a perfect 4-0 on Sunday. Atlanta came 12 yards short of knocking off New Orleans. We had also on Monday the Washington football team's big upset against the Steelers, and then last night the Rams. So they want to hop on board 11 out of 14 winning weeks here at Paramount Sports. 5 games, just $55, and one of them will be a 45-unit max play on our 40 to 50-unit plays going back the last dozen years, 49, 15, and 1. Just go to ParamountSports.com. 5 selections, $55, or if you like the UFC, 5 selections, just $5. Why am I doing it so cheap in the UFC where we've won 25 of 34 cards? I know if I go 3-2, 4-1, or 5-0 for you, you're coming back for more. ParamountSports.com.
Thank you, Lee, as always, with his advice and his opinion, the trends, and much more when it comes to what Vegas thinks of the games in college and pro football. All right, when we come back, it will be Temple and Riker. Temple playing tonight against Waxahachie in the by-district of 6A. Last night, Harker Heights beaten. Last night, DeSoto hammered. Well, I say that. It was 57-32. You kind of just – they beat Shoemaker, jumped on them early, and then Duncanville 60-14 over Harker Heights. Cedar Hill and Bryan tonight, but also tonight it's Temple and Waxahachie in 6A Division II. Plus Riker tomorrow plays for a state title. They've won, is it 9 state titles, 4 back in the 2000 to 2010 stretch, and they play tomorrow against St. Paul Catholic out of Shiner. We'll hear from Tyler Holcomb. And then Dave Aranda. They will play tomorrow against Oklahoma State. All of that next, coming up on SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, the holiday savings event is going on right now, and that means that you can find some great deals on a variety of vehicles during Richard Carr's holiday savings event. It has been a weird year. It's been a crazy year, but all throughout, Richard Carr has been there to give you great deals, to keep their dealership open, and to give you a variety of alternatives to try and find the car that you may desire. And as my notes fall away from me here, because I don't have this all memorized, let me get back to those deals. You've got the 2021 GMC Sierra Texas Edition at Richard Carr. Right now, qualified buyers can unwrap $8,000 in savings off the 2021 GMC Texas Edition Crew Cab. Maybe you're looking for a top-of-the-line midsize SUV. How about the GMC Terrain? How about $7,000 off the GMC Terrain? How about $7,500 off of Buick Envisions? You can test drive both of these vehicles today and save big on both at Richard Carr. They've also got compact SUV with loads of space and style. When I describe a vehicle like that, well, I'm talking about the 2020 Buick Encore right now. A 2020 Buick Encore can be yours for only $18,950. That's over $5,000 in savings on the top-selling Encore. And they also have, of course, the luxurious line of Cadillacs. You can save $3,000, get 0% financing for 72 months on most Cadillacs in stock, including the XT4, XT5, and XT6. Let Richard Carr bring the Cadillac experience to you with test drives at your home or office. And at Richard Carr, they love their healthcare workers, military, and first responders. Right now, all these valuable community heroes will receive GM supplier pricing on all vehicles in stock. For every car, truck sold now, Richard Carr will donate a new bike as well to Toys for Tots Waco. So get yourself a great deal and give a deserving kid a bike this Christmas. It's the holiday sales event at Richard Carr. Get there now. Go to richardcarr.com or have them bring the test drive to you. Save big. The holiday sales event at Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to SicEm365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
MP Electric has developed a quality-oriented electrical contracting service in more than 20 years in the industry. Led by President Mark Perry, our electricians go through a 5-year apprenticeship program, are licensed by the state of Texas, and getting continuous education annually upon renewal. In great part, the success of MP Electric lies with its management and professional expertise of its employees. All of our employees share a dedication to quality and commitment to serving the needs of our customers. For new construction and remodels, parking lot, lighting and surge protection, landscape lights, security lights, troubleshooting and repairs. For industrial manufacturing, food and beverage, paper and publishing, heavy industry, cement and rock crushing plants, water distribution plants, and utilities. For 20 years, MP Electric has serviced industrial, commercial, and residential products. We do service right. MP Electric Inc. at 1890 Galaxy Road, Waco. MPElectricusa.com.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Hey guys, Scott Stewart here, head football coach of the Fighting Wildcats from Temple High School in Temple by God, Texas, and you're listening to SicEm365 Radio with David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
This segment with Temple Wildcats football coach Scott Stewart is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
Coach, you've got Waxahachie first round of the playoffs. This is a team early in the season that was struggling a lot, but they finished the year on a 4-game winning streak. That is pretty impressive in and of itself, no matter who you're playing.
Well, no question. And if you look at that schedule, you know they didn't front load it, but their district schedule was front loaded with all the big dogs. And so I mean, 3 of the teams they've lost 4 games. And 3 of the teams that they lost to are now 26-2. So I mean, you know, they weren't getting beat by slaps, and you know, they kind of got into the they got kind of the big dogs, DeSoto, Cedar Hill, those guys out of the way, and you know, they've kind of handled everybody else. So they're a very good football team, unbelievable offensive skill, fast on defense, big up front. They got some dudes in the backfield, quarterback and running back, that can absolutely go. So, you know, don't look at the record and think that they squeaked into the playoffs, because that's not the case.
Because of that district, they are ready to play pretty much anybody, aren't they? And is that one of your messages to the team?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, that's kind of why, you know, the non-district stuff I find as tough people as we can possibly find for that reason, because, you know, our district is tough, and I want us to go into district knowing that we've played some of the best people in the state. And then obviously if you get the chance, you know, that can't help but get you ready for the playoffs. So they are definitely battle tested. They played some really, really, really good people. And so, you know, we're not going to throw anything on the field personnel wise that they just were like, oh my gosh, we can't handle this. So, you know, you try to front load that stuff and then play through district so you can get ready for stuff like this.
We had your quarterback, Arozarena, on the show the other day, and I was very, very impressed, very, very kind of unassuming, but you can tell he's got a fire about him. Tell me about him, when he did take the reins and how he has been that leader for you this season.
Well, he is a leader in every sense of the word. I mean, in the classroom, in the film room. If you can't find Humberto Arizmendi, the first place you need to look is the quarterback meeting room, because he'll be in there when no one else is in there. He takes his job, he takes his responsibility as kind of the quarterback and the trigger man. He takes it very seriously. The last thing he wants to do is let anybody down. So that kid, he's the kind of kid you want. And to tell you, I mean, to me, to talk about his character, it personifies it in one example. He was voted as a team captain without ever having taken a snap on varsity, because the kids, I mean, when I was in college, we had a kind of a saying or a motto in the our meeting room that said, "Real recognize real." I mean, the kids obviously see that he's not placating. He's not just trying to be something he's not. He's just who he is. He plays above his head. He's a pretty good football player, but he's not the most talented quarterback. But you talk about as far as a kid that gets every drop of potential from his ability, and that's that kid, because it means so much to him, and he spends so much time studying.
When he did have to step in for you, the team was already confident in him. I mean, because of that, they voted him a captain, so it wasn't like, oh dear God, we have another quarterback.
Right. I mean, that's exactly it. And felt like may have had a little bit of a better athlete in the sophomore, and they kind of had a battle. We didn't get spring ball, which obviously didn't help anybody. So it's not like we're the only school that went through that. But we didn't get to evaluate that quote unquote competition, and so we had to kind of wait till we got into camp, and they were pretty close. I mean, one of them's probably a little bit more athletic, but Humberto just when he makes a mistake, he don't tend to make it again. He tries to see the picture. He's just a headsy kid, and so felt like we could be successful. We could be competitive with either one of them, but one of those guys can play another position. Humberto was just, I think the kids. I think when that decision was finally made, I think there was a lot of kids on our football team that were happy, because they know what kind of person he is. They know that the moment's not going to be too big. He's going to be as prepared as he possibly can be, and he's going to give you more than what his measurable talent should allow him to give.
Hi, this is Tyler Holcomb, Athletic Director and Head Football Coach at Bishop Lewis Riker, and you're listening to SicEm365 Radio with David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
This segment with Riker Catholic Cougars football coach Tyler Holcomb is sponsored by Riker Athletic Booster Club, Boozer's Jewelers, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
All right, Coach, you are in your second year. You're playing in the state championship game. I would imagine that your emotions and nerves are kind of all over the place with this team. What's it been like this week preparing for the state championship game?
Well, we've tried to keep it business as usual, but obviously, there's a little more that comes with this. I mean, I feel like that every day I'm doing, 2 or 3 interviews and those types of things, which is, it's great for our school and our program, and that's really what this is about, is to try to show people how great it is to be a Bishop Riker Cougar. But we're trying to keep things the same. We've had a good week of practice. We've had good focus at our practice, and we're looking forward to Saturday.
There is a great tradition at Riker when it comes to state championships, whether it's John Vosick or Mark Wagner, who I know you worked for and worked with there. They've won some state title games. And I'm not trying to get you to be cocky here or anything, but does this feel kind of right for the kids who know, like, coming up and had brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and all that played in state championship games? Does this kind of feel right to them to be in this spot?
Oh, no question. I mean, this community, Cougar Nation, they expect to be in the state championship. We expect to be there, and that's our expectation, and we're not going to lower that bar for anybody. And but we also at the same time, we feel very humbled, and we feel very blessed to be in this situation. It's been a very rocky year. It's been a roller coaster ride, and so to see all the adversity that we faced and the troubles early on and those types of things, see that pay off, and for us to have an opportunity to play in the state championship game, it's kind of like a dream come true.
You and I have talked all year about your team is very loose all the time. They like to cut up. They've got swagger about them. But in most years, I would think that you would, like you said, it kind of stresses you out sometimes because you're cut from a little bit different cloth, But given all the tumultuous nature of this year, isn't that maybe the thing that kind of got you guys through, is that these kids can laugh at the world a little bit?
That's you hit the nail on the head, is I wasn't like that, but part of coaching is adapting, and so in this day and age, we've had to do a lot of adapting, especially these kids have had to do a lot of adapting to the situations and with COVID and everything else. And, they are free spirits, and, there are times, that can get under my skin a little bit, just because I like to see, focus and that type of thing, because that's kind of how I was. That's the way I approached the game. It was very serious to me and very important, and it doesn't make it less important to our kids when they're that way. That's just how they are, and that's how. So when the lights come on, those guys come to play. And so I've had to adapt my coaching style and try to become better in that way and become a little more open-minded and learn to do things a different way and approach things in a different way with this group, because they are so loose and they are fun. And we joke about it as a coach staff all the time. It's kind of like the U of high school football. I mean, these guys just take that type of approach, and they do have that swagger, and we try to have that swagger, and we enjoy. We're having fun with it, man. We're on this big stage, and we know that we're the underdog coming in, so we're just going to go out and let it all hang out and try to see if we can pull something off.
Well, you've been the underdog a couple times already, so it's not new to you. Now, Shiner St. Paul, this is a really good team that you're going to be facing. Your defense has played really, really well throughout the postseason. Is that confidence? Do you see that building as they take on an offense that's really good?
Oh, absolutely. Coach Bragg has done a phenomenal job coordinating our defense. Billy Overshone, our secondary coach, he's done an incredible job. I think we've had 15 turnovers in the past 3 games. And that's huge. Anytime you can force turnovers at that magnitude and give your offense chances to score, it increases your chance of winning. And so that's a really good thing for us. But Shiner St. Paul is really good. They're really effective. They're really disciplined. They're going to do the right things all the time. They're not going to make mistakes. They've been here the past 3 years. They've won it the past 2. So they know what it's like to play on this stage. And we just got to go out and execute, do your 111, everybody do your job. And I think that we'll give ourselves a chance.
Christmas time is Jeep time at Allen Samuels. It's the Big Finish event, and the world's most awarded SUV has 0%, no payments for 90 days, and employee pricing for all on select models. Save thousands on the rugged Renegade and new 2020 Grand Cherokees. Even new 2021 Jeep Cherokees are included. 0%, no payments for 90 days. Employee pricing for all. Happy holidays from Allen Samuels.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
one size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one size fits all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
In Texas, there's pea-size hail and baseball-size hail. Guess which one hit our house? We didn't even know where to begin, but we called our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent, and he was so reassuring. He knew exactly what to do to get our house back into shape and our lives back to normal. Now, we're even more thankful for the roof over our heads.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Waco Custom Marketplace is your home for holiday favorites for parties and the time with family. Various specials available in-store and online. A variety of steak gift boxes with 4 ribeyes for $70, 4 bacon wrapped fillets for $55, or 4 New York strips for $50, and all come with steak butter. Fall snack box for watching a game or wrapping presents or hosting people at your house, including summer sausage, split horn, and jalapeno cheese and salted crackers for only $35. 2 pieces of lobster tails with herb butter and 2 bacon wrapped fillets for $60. Order online or call in advance to ensure availability, or drop by Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive. Waco Custom Marketplace has a full-service butcher shop for customized orders or cuts of your favorite steaks or beef tenderloin or specially ordered prime rib roast. Plus, what you want with pork, poultry, seafood, and more. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Brewer looking for room on the opposite side. He's got his receiver. Touchdown! It's Snead. It's number 9. Taquan Thornton, I beg your pardon, on the reception.
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Baylor football coach Dave Aranda with us on SicEm365 Radio. You mentioned in the Big 12 teleconference about the culture at Baylor. Everyone needs to be tight. Everyone needs to be on the same page. Has that been at times this year one of the struggles because of all the distance and the changes and the ups and downs?
Well, I think if we didn't have COVID here and we didn't have quarantines and we didn't have any of that, I think it would, we would probably be tighter and stronger. I believe that. I don't think it's been a negative. I just feel like it we can be better. I think Baylor wins with a really, really strong culture. And I think, like, when you see, like, whether it's this game, guys fighting to the last seconds, or you see, Kansas State guys fighting to win in the last seconds, I think you see that, come out. And so I feel like the more together we can be and the more that we do as a team and the stronger we are. It's difficult to be together when things are set up for you not to be together. Yeah. And so I think there's certain teams that don't win that way. It's more of clear the floor, get Jimmy Chip with the ball and let him go one-on-one, and we are not that way. And so we are a team that wins, together is stronger. And so I think it's something that, we've been fully working on, and I feel improving as it goes, and I feel like we'll be even better here coming up.
You mentioned after the game, after Oklahoma, the defense was just spectacular, and how they got after Spencer Rattler in Oklahoma, and you've now done that both at LSU and also at Baylor, and how they just played no matter the score, no matter the situation, no matter if the offense was having a big game or not. Do you feel like that's something that you've also been proud of, that there has been no finger pointing, that if the defense plays that well but they can't win because there's not enough points, that they have focused on themselves and not looking across the room or at another part of the game?
I am proud of our guys that way, and proud of the defensive staff. I thought our players did a great job of, the talk on the sidelines, the focus on the field. I thought that guys were locked in the entire time, and just there's stages there in the game to where their offense got the ball, OU on a short field, and you just see the look in guys' eyes, and they're ready to go, right? And then they're right back out after whatever happens, and they're ready to go. And so it was, I think there was some early on of defensively, well, we're doing this, what's happening on the other end? And so we had to address that, and I think our guys are one that everything that we've talked about they attack and fix, and I feel like we want to build off of this last game and take what we started here and take it to this next Saturday.
Is the offensive line, and you've been asked about it by me and others as well, were they the most affected group because of how weird this year has been, without spring drills, without even maybe sometimes the normalness of the early part of the season? Is that a one position group that's affected more, even more so than a quarterback, wide receiver group, or anything defense?
I think so. That's a good observation. I think just their ability to work as a unit, 5 guys, thinking, feeling, and talking the same way, I think is paramount. And I think early in the year, not having that, who's in there and what is he playing, and we were getting guys back, I think, a day or two prior to a game, and we've had our guys here, and it's been that's been a lot more consistent, having the guys. It's just the execution, and you look at this last game, and there's times where all 5 guys are on it, and then there's times where 3 guys are on it and 2 aren't, or 4 are on it. And most of the times it's 4 guys doing this and 1 guy doing that, and we have to be better there. And so I think everyone clearly sees that, and we're really working hard to find the things that we can do versus a really good front here coming up this Saturday, and then the pressure that's going to come with just really 9-man fronts with safeties locked in like Okie State does. So it's a challenge ahead of us.
How would you describe Charlie Brewer and what he's been able to do? Obviously, he had the big moment in the second half 2 weeks ago, and then the offense struggled against Oklahoma, and it's been a lot of times. I had a former offensive lineman tell me that he's constantly, almost even seeing things when they're not there, because there's been so many pressures from different angles. We know he's not flawless, but you have supported him, obviously, from the beginning. Your thoughts about his game, his season, and who he is as a quarterback at Baylor?
Yeah, as a person, I think Charlie is. I've never heard Charlie complain. I've never heard him. Why is this happening? Why me? I've never heard if only it was this or only if it was that. I've just heard him just take responsibility, and even when it's not his to take, he takes it. And so, Charlie, just as a person, is loved in this building, and just team wise, coaches wise, support wise, staff. they see a guy that's a competitor that lays it out there and then, doesn't complain. And so you don't, nowadays, all of that's just very rare. And so it makes you, when you see that, it's kind of, you want your kid to be like that. You want your people to be like that. And so I think the players have that kind of just instinctually. They see that this is the person I want to be, and so they're fighting for that. I think, to continue to work to get the offense to where Charlie's comfortable and we're playing his style of ball. I think is the continued movement here, and I feel like the amount of man, the amount of pressure that we're going to get from Okie State are going to open up some things, and so we have to be sure to capitalize with it. And a lot of that is, all of that is all flowing through him as it's been throughout.
Do you feel like sometimes with what Coach Fedora wants to run or what he's always run compared to what Charlie does and what's best for him is almost at times been a circle and a square?
I think Charlie is best when there is when there's chaos, when there is outside the pocket, when it's kind of when instincts are taken over. That's when he's at his best. And so I think it's difficult when you have a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to prepare, and it's like, we're going to be operating under scramble drill is basically what we're doing. And so I think, you have to be really creative, I feel, and really open to minimizing kind of what you have and just making sure that the players are out in front. And that when we're thinking of offense, or we're thinking of defense for that matter, I think, it showed up, and to Larry's credit, it's been that way, whether it's stressing, we've got this form, or it's Fleeks and we have this package form and these plays are going to him, or it's RJ and we're looking for him, or defensively it's Petrie and he's getting this big sack that's kind of flipping this turn the tide, or when it was kind of a where is this going to go type of game here on Saturday. So I feel like when you're thinking players and not plays, you are in the you're in the right space, and I feel just finding enough variety in there, I think, is the key.
National Signing Day is coming up, and I know you can't comment about anybody until they sign, but are you also as much recruiting within your own roster right now with the way things are so easy for players to leave or get disgruntled or get tired or just they're worn out? Is that as much your recruitment process as anything else of anybody new coming to Baylor?
Well, I see I understand your question. I wouldn't look at it as a recruiting. I would look at it as investing in our people and getting to know your people and not trying to, not asking them to come to where I'm at. I'm gonna go to where they're at and meet them there and help them get to where, this is where you're at now, but this is how I see you. These are the positives that you bring. These are the things that we can build on. Here's the things we can work on, and we can get you there, man, and build the person. I think when you build a person, in that process, you're building a relationship, and I think throughout that, you can build the player. And so I would see it like that, and it's been that way throughout. I think whether it was phone calls during the quarantine or just, I think there's been more one-on-ones, which I always appreciate, and just having guys here in the office and talking about things that they are going through and things that they are fighting and things that are holding them back, and then really working on ways that we can fight that. And I feel like when you do that, I think you're getting a look under the hood. And I think for them, for players, I think that's the way to go about it, because I think if you're not doing that, you're looking at outside and the frustrations that come in life. It's really easy to point the finger. And so I think for us to always work on yourself and what can I do better and how can I be a better person, I feel like that's the process there.
I don't know what the actual situation is anymore with bowl games, and I know you're 2-6, and it's either 3-6 or you're 2-7, whatever happens. If in fact somehow a bowl game was available, I know you're going to be able to practice through the 19th, but if a bowl game became available at 2-7 or 3-6, would you take it?
Right now, I would say no. I think right now we're really focused on this next one, and I just think, just with our depth, just with our kind of our mental state, and just so many guys have sacrificed so much, and it hasn't. The mental and the physical are kind of there's not really a line there anymore. It's very much grayed out, and so there's guys that are putting it, giving us everything they got to get us there and get us a win and finish this out strong. And so my motivation is like what we can do to win today and get us to where we can get ourselves a W on Saturday versus a really good Oklahoma State team that I know is going to come in pissed off and ready to play. And so that's really all we're thinking about.
You were pretty animated. It's not as if you're not. People sometimes look at your personality and they don't understand the fire that burns in your belly. We've discussed this before, but it did seem like, as we've seen you the last couple of weeks, we're more and more animated on the sideline. Is that because you're becoming more and more comfortable in your role as a head coach?
I don't know. I mean, the equipment staff's got some Red Bulls down there. Maybe with that. I don't know, man. I don't know. It could be like we talk about. Is it the white monsters or the red monsters are the best ones to drink? It could be that stuff. I just feel like when I'm there and I'm just seeing guys, just knowing you talk to guys individually and you know what they're going through and you know what they're fighting, and then they go out there and the situation that comes up that you talked about, and they rise up and they excel. I mean, that's what it's about right there, man. So that gets you excited. And then when you're fighting stuff, whereas in the past, early in the year, you would struggle because I'm looking at what this guy did or what that guy did, and if they're not doing this, why do I got to do this? And now I'm just focused on what's right in front of me, and that hits, and now they are accomplishing things that they didn't think they could, and then you could see the light come in their eyes, man, and it lights up. And so all of that, I feel, is the reason you get excited, but it could be the other stuff too. So.
Thank you, Dave. Dave Aranda, head football coach at Baylor, SicEm365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. It's the holiday season, and they've got a great deal going on from Balcones and the Waco Whiskey Club. They have a partnership. They've got their own barrel of Christmas Special. It's a single malt whiskey aged 5 years. And Steve assures me it's fantastic, and I trust his taste. It's got to be fantastic because what you get at Riverbend Liquor and Wine is fantastic. It's quality all the way. You can only get it there, so make your reservations. Get your bottle now for the holiday season at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. And look, whatever you need for your holiday get-togethers, however socially distanced and small they might be, they've got you covered. Liquor, wine, spirits, craft beer, like you would not believe. A gorgeous walk-in refrigerator. You can see all the different kinds of craft beer they have. Plus, they've got the convenient drive-through window as well. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram for Chapman's Riverbend Liquor and Wine.
Let
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army radiologists. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The Sic'em365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
All right, here we are on this crazy busy Friday, 5:30 and still a half an hour to go. We'll update you on a couple of things. Michael Irvin today was on the flagship in Dallas about the Cowboys in primetime television. He said it is an all-time low. Honestly, that's a new low. My mind goes everywhere. I'm an analyst. I look at it this way and say, this is crazy what's happening here. Who did they replace us with? Can you imagine the Cowboys flexed out for the Cleveland Browns? Today, on his segment today, Jerry Jones said this about being flexed. He said something to the effect, well, this is really a positive because it's in an area where they don't normally have a lot of fans that normally don't have as many fans who get to watch. So he's actually trying to position it as if the NFL said, hey, Jerry, we need you to go from primetime, but we want to really kind of get more eyeballs at noon with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's total BS. I mean, it's a nice spin job on Jerry's part, but, I mean, while true that some of the biggest ratings that the NFL's had have been on Sunday afternoons, I'm not buying it.
No,
I mean, it's not.
That's like saying, listen, I really want to I would rather go to prom with you, but it's just better for the school if I go with Derek, or whatever.
Yeah.
Here's also what he said. I'm seeing some really good effort talking about his defense. I see guys that are trying to work the problem, trying to get better. He said what he wishes they would not have done was make so many defensive changes leading into the season. He puts the blame on coaches and himself as the general manager.
Well, I think they're in for an interesting offseason, much like Baylor is. I think there's going to be some changes within the Cowboys coaching staff, obviously, especially on defense. And, then what direction they go with the draft will be fascinating as well. So, a couple interesting off seasons in front of us. College Station
9-1 against Sherman. The Bearcats are 5-4. They play tomorrow afternoon. Steve Huff, head coach at College Station, joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Steve, you took over a brand new program. You've had tremendous success. I would think it's easy to say you've settled in, but you now kind of know what the standard is of what the Cougars expect to play every year?
I would say to a certain extent, yes. I mean, I would hope that be our standard. So we try to set it high for the kids, and I think the kids that are coming up through the program understand that.
Well, I mean, they have nothing to look back on, but good since you've been there. You guys were good right off the bat. That's really strange, Coach.
Well, I tell you, we had some really, really good players come through here, and I've got a good staff that for the majority have stayed together almost the 9 years we've been open. So I just think that continuity has a lot to do with it.
Talking to Steve Huff, head coach at College Station, with us on SicEm365 Radio. You had the blemish earlier against Magnolia, but you've run the table since. Do you feel like, and have you gotten better, other than this, the obvious of experience, considering this has been a year of ups and downs, bumps and bruises and delays?
I do think it has a little bit to do. Magnolia's a really, really good football team, and that was a very good game. We did not function at all in the first half, and much due to their defense. And so we struggled at times during that game. But coming back off of that, I think kind of the call for us was get a little better each week. We're still very young in some places, and I think the kids just slowly but surely have gotten better and just gotten more comfortable to the game speed, especially our younger kids. And so, just look for those kids to keep coming on and keep getting better every week.
The thing about what you're doing, you have Roderick Brown, who's put up a big year. Your son's the quarterback, has broken some school records. But I noticed Roderick Brown has now become your all-time leading all-purpose yards player. And you've had some dudes now in the time that program has been available and open. How good is Roderick Brown?
Roderick's a really, really steady player. And he's just, as we've come along, he's just gotten better and better. He actually missed part of his sophomore year with a high ankle sprain, which set him back a little bit. But, consistency for him is day in and day out. He's a leader for us, practices hard, off-season works hard. So, it's fun to see him have success. And, we look forward to hopefully somebody latching on to him at the next level.
What kind of a challenge does Sherman present for you?
Well, they're a lot. They're different places. I think one thing is, kind of stands out for us looking at them on the offensive side of the ball to their defense is they run a different defense than we've seen this year. We haven't seen it probably since realistically that look since 3 years ago when we played Georgetown. So it's a little bit different, the things they do, and a lot of defensive back type guys on the field that can really run. So they run really well on defense. And offensively, they're, I guess, kind of in a way a lot like we are. They run the quarterbacks more than we do. But, again, two backs a lot of times, power run game, do a good job spraying the ball around the receivers. You have a couple of really good receivers. And just very, very consistent. They just do a good job moving and taking what's given. So we definitely have our hands full.
I also noticed that if you look at Highland Park's record, they're now 10-0. They won last night, 9 or 10-0. Other than Longview, Sherman played Highland Park as well as anybody. In fact, better than anybody other than Longview in that district as well.
No doubt, and that stands out also because Highland Park and Randy, those guys they do a great job. And looking at that and the way Sherman played them, definitely opens your eyes up in that district for sure, because with them not having to play Longview or getting to play, I didn't mean like they didn't get to play Longview. You really have nothing else to compare to. And so when you're comparing that score to Highland Park, that's a pretty good comparison.
Your son is the quarterback. How much has that been a joy? And what's the relationship like both at the field house, but also when you're home?
Very good. It's been fun. You know, he got to play quite a little bit last year as a sophomore, and so coming along this year and seeing him develop, but also just develop with the guys around him, the kids that he has played with coming up through, you know, Pop Warner ball, and they're all the same age, the receivers, and so it's fun to watch them. But you know, relationship, it's obviously different coaching your son, but it's helped me calm down on the field. You know, because I am talking to his mother's son, so
yep.
It makes a little difference when I get home. So, but no, it's been you know, to this point, it's been fun, and really enjoy his company every day.
Yeah, he had a huge game against Waller, most passing yards I think at a game, and then also 5 touchdowns. Had 6 against Cleveland. What is it about him that makes him unique? Is it the coach's son? Without saying, a lot of times coaches' sons are quarterbacks, but what else about him that's pretty good? It makes him unique.
Well, I think he takes instruction well and takes things to heart and you know, truly tries to take care of the football. Early in the year, we were a little loose with it, and I think that's one thing he's really improved as of late. And then, you know, the guys he's throwing it to. I mean, those kids have been together for a while. They've played a lot of 7-on-7 stuff together, so they have good chemistry. And then getting some protection, obviously, is huge. So hopefully that can continue.
Thank you very much, Coach. Steve, good luck tomorrow. Thanks for your time. Is there any concern that your game with Sherman is the week before you might play Denton Ryan, as far as distractions?
Absolutely not. I think our kids have been really good this year about looking at games and seeing what's going on, and we try really, really hard to focus on the moment. All you have to do is put on the video and look at Sherman. Our kids the same way. Look at Sherman. You understand there is no next week unless you play well tomorrow. So, you know, that's our rallying cry right now. We have to play a good game tomorrow to even get past this opponent. Thank you very much, Coach. Appreciate you jumping on with us. Jed Huff, his son, that's Steve Huff, the head coach at College Station, has done a great job, won a state championship 3 years ago. Thank you for the time. Sherman tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. 5:39 is the time. Paul, one more break here. We'll come back. Another break. Armstrong and Jack have juggled and run the mothership from start to finish. Hey, don't forget tomorrow at 12:30, our pregame show, Baylor in that Oklahoma State game, in case you've been under a rock or haven't been paying attention, moved to 2:30 kick, not 6 o'clock. And the good news is the game remains on. 2:30 is the kick time. Our pregame at 12:30 here in studio on Elm and Martin Luther King. SicEm365, 254-339-1122. And this is SicEm365 Radio.
When it comes to hauling the family and hauling cargo, see Alan Samuels. Get the king of minivans, the award-winning Chrysler Pacifica, or America's lowest price third-row crossover, Dodge Journey. During the Big Finish event, get 0%, no payments for 90 days, and employee pricing for all on Pacifica. It's minivan first class. And get employee pricing for all on new 2020 Dodge Journeys. Happy holidays from your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T is board-certified physician consultations, will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
All right, we have a couple of things to get to. One final in high school football. Craig, in Class 3A Division 1, I guess it is? Division 2 with the Mount Vernon game.
Yeah.
Division 1.
You asked me a question I don't know the answer to off the top of my head, but final now in what was a crazy, crazy game. Jim Ned 24, Mount Vernon 17. At one point a few minutes ago, Mount Vernon had the ball. They were driving, fumbled it at the 3-yard line, going in to tie the game. Jim Ned got the ball back. They had to punt deep in their own territory from like their own 3-yard line. Mount Vernon got the ball at about the 47, but they had to burn their timeouts on the previous drive. So they got the ball at about the Jim Ned 47 or so with no timeouts, and then got down close to the goal line and thrown into the end zone with 10 seconds left on third and 11 from the 23. They got backed up due to a penalty or something. 10 seconds left. They throw a pick and Jim Ned headed to the state title game.
So they finished, Art Browse and Mount Vernon finished 12-3 semifinals, that game at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Mart won last night. Crawford's out. Riker will play tomorrow for a championship at noon at the Panther Stadium in Hewitt at Midway High School. And other than that, I mean, Mart continues on. Crawford done. Franklin plays tonight, 7:30 in Tyler. And that game is against Wascom, that repeat of the 2015 state championship game. And then you have the 5As and 6As. So you normally see this, you go, Central Texas is down to Mart. Maybe, Mart and Riker and Franklin. And then you go, well, wait a minute. There's a handful of teams left in 5A and 6A, although, in fact, one of them was College Station as well. The 1As or 6-man, they don't play, but they'll start the championship week at Arlington. That is next Wednesday. Late in the morning, early in the afternoon, and then Mart plays Windthorst as well. Now, Cottonwood Creek Golf Course, they donated those golf balls for the Masters promotion. I want to give them a plug. Right now, Christmas sale going on inside the pro shop. All clothing, buy one, get half off the next one. Soft goods are 20% off. They've got a great deal. I've been to that before. Cottonwood Creek, Kenny Duron and his staff do a fantastic job. So if you're looking for golf, any kind of golf gifts, Cottonwood Creek Golf Course off Bagby has right now their Christmas sale underway.
I haven't seen Kenny in a while. Long time.
Well, we've been seeing Durons, but they've been with Riker.
Yeah, there's lots
Austin,
of Durons.
Right? We've seen the Durons. The pick six twice.
Yeah. Believe me, if you were going to, if we weren't to start a rumble and just called out a family, there's too many Durons that I would want to start a rumble with.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Now,
good luck to Riker tomorrow.
Yeah, no, good luck, Eli Cummings and Jake Boozer and all those. What's our Maverick Plesic?
Yeah.
Among a few others.
Sir John
Big
Strain.
Tall, Borman, Strain, Long, all of them. They got a heck of a good team. Good luck to all of them in their game against St. Paul Catholic and go now. That's another. Shiner's already got a team in the state championship game. The winner, they're in the state championship game, and now they might have two. Well, one of them might win it tomorrow as far as St. Paul Catholic at Panther Stadium in Hewitt. All right.
But congrats to Tyler Holcomb, second year in the state championship game, and that's what they expected, Riker. I mean, there is a. You heard me talking to him earlier. That's the expectation at Riker is to get in the TAP state championship, and here they are in it.
Yeah, no, they are. You're exactly right. There's been a couple of more teams. We had Boston College yesterday that decided to not go bowling. And this is kind of why I asked Dave Aranda that question, even though they had made it clear, Mac Rhodes the week before, that they were not going to play a non-conference game, not this weekend, but next. But you look at the number of bowls, and it's going to be probably slithered, slashed to like 40% of them, if that many, right?
Yeah, if that many. I mean,
It was 40 or 50 of them, so it's still a lot of bowl games.
As much as I love college football, there were too many of them. I know some will disagree and feel like, no, give me all that I can handle. But, I'm a big believer in there's too much of a good thing sometimes, and I don't need all I can get all the time. So I was never really big on a lot of these other kind of peripheral bowl games. I just felt like it had ballooned far, far too much and really kind of diluted the importance of making and winning a bowl game because instead of being, one of the somewhat few teams out there, being able to accomplish that, you're just one of pretty much everybody else that's also getting an opportunity. But anyways, I think it's the right choice. I mean, this team has been so worn down by everything that's gone on the last few months, and you just feel it. I think that was the biggest thing that Mac Rhodes said is sometimes you just you get that feeling, and that sounded like it was as much a reason for them to not play was just that feeling that they get right now versus, testing or anything along those lines. And you know what? The odds of them getting that bonus game were unlikely to begin with because of where they sit record-wise. But, if they had tried to perhaps make something happen next week, I'm sure we'd all get fired up for it, but I think we'll all be okay that tomorrow is the season finale. And hopefully they go out on a high note.
Yeah. Who had just said Pitt's not going to go, and
Pitt's eligible though.
Pitt's eligible.
SMU accepted something earlier.
Yeah, Pitt's eligible, but they've decided against it. So I mean, that goes to show you that even if you can go, not everybody wants to go this year.
There was another school. Was it besides Boston College that was? I thought it was
Pitt.
Yeah. Okay.
But Miami and Georgia Tech, by the way, we're supposed to play next week. On the day of the ACC title game. That's now not going to happen. Georgia Tech doesn't meet COVID standards, so there's another game canceled for next week. And it's just kind of on and on with all this. And I do think that most teams are just going to be like, that's why they're saying we're not going to go to a bowl. It's too much because you can say you practice for 3 weeks to go to a bowl game, and then bam, you get COVID. Those weeks of practice are great, but this is one of those years where those weeks of practice may be lost on the fact that you've got some guys worn out. Plus, dealing with all these opt-outs and everything that we've talked about before, you might have guys just go ahead and opt out for the bowl game anyway, and then you're kind of like, well, who are we going to play in this game that hasn't played yet this year? So it's too much.
Yeah, that would be bad to extend the year, and it's great to have the practices, and then all of a sudden you have games that you finally play. But
if you have practices and you're not playing in some great bowl game, what's the point of wanting to go play in the bowl game? I mean, other than just wanting to play one more time, you're still getting the benefit of really why the bowl game is. It's The bowl game's important for various reasons, but a big reason why it's so important is those extra practices. So if you're already getting those without even playing in a game, then, I mean, that works pretty well for me. And they could certainly use it, and I'm going to be very interested to see how exactly they go about using what's not a lot of time. It's like a week, but it's a week nonetheless that you have to use. So I'm sure we'll see some coaches hit the road recruiting. To what? Well, gosh, can they even do that? No, they can't even do that right now, can they? Golly. Nope. So, I guess we'll have to ask Dave Aranda about that on Saturday night or something. Yeah, no, because they can't. And you can't go visit high schools right now.
That's what
would typically happen. They will hit the recruiting trail.
Wednesday is National Signing Day. You still have work to do. You still have to make sure you've lost some. You've had some back out. Maybe you moved on from another one or two. And so they got some work to do. Now, I'm going to go down this list. I want you guys, and we can do this tomorrow in the pregame and maybe spend more time on it. Here are some names, and I want you guys to tell me who you think will be back next year. Some are seniors with options to come back. Everybody has an option for the extra year. Some are the bigger names, and we're going to start with Treston Ebner.
No, I think he's gone to the NFL.
John Lovett.
Gone.
NFL.
Raleigh Tejada.
Gone.
NFL.
Jared Atkinson, who's hurt. He had an ankle injury, and I know that he is debating what he's going to do.
I mean, for him, he's not going to the NFL. So how much does he want to still play football?
Yep.
I mean, that's really what it boils down to. And, what do the coaches think about Jared Atkinson coming back? Because, he's been holding a scholarship now for about 5 years.
And what does he think of the coaches?
And that's what I'm saying. It's all different things that come into play here. So I don't know.
I think that's 50-50.
Yeah.
Jaron McVay.
I think he'll be back, and I think that'll be a great returning player to have back as Jaron McVay.
Remember the play against Kansas State that somebody sent to me, and it made me realize that he has played every position in the secondary, including the star position.
He'll be super
when
valuable.
Players have been ejected for targeting or whatever else or injured, and he's played all of them. Xavier Newman.
I think that might be one of those conversation-type decisions that happen.
I don't know. The way he's played this year, I don't think that would be good news if he came back unless he knows how to get better, because he has regressed to a point of ineffectiveness.
He was going to be suspended for the first game because of an incident back at the first part of the year. And when he came back, I guess they need him back. And unfortunately, he was in that mishmash of moving people around. Blake Bettier.
I feel, because I know there's a couple more O-linemen you'll bring up, I feel kind of the same way about all of them in that way. Every offensive lineman, I could see a situation where they just don't want to return. I could see a situation where the coaches don't want them to return. So not knowing nearly enough of the details, none of those guys have NFL options. Maybe Burton, but as a second, third day pick.
So Newman, Bettier, Valentine, and Burton.
Yeah.
They all could be like a clump that goes out the door.
I'd say 50-50 on each one of those guys.
William Bradley King.
It'd be great to have him back, but he's gone.
Gone.
I mean, that's an NFL player.
If you could take of those 10 players, there's 10 players. Ebner, Lovett, Tejada, Atkinson, McVay, Newman, Bettier, Valentine, Burton, and King. And knowing that we just said, I think 8 of the 10 most likely gone. 2 that are up in the air. McVay, we'd like to see come back. Not that you wouldn't want to see some of the others come back.
No, definitely want to see others come back, but I think he's the most logical.
If you could pick one offensive lineman among that group, one of the running backs a part of that group, who would you want? Because Tejada and Bradley King are
Ebner and Burton.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, same thing for me.
Okay. Now, Brewer, Zeno, and Bohannon. And could this be a domino effect, or have Zeno and Bohannon, because we've heard chirping, we've heard the speculation, and we've seen most likely, they have not taken snaps, basically. Gary came in for a little bit. If Brewer is the one that says, hey, guys, let me make a decision first, and they say, well, we've waited all year, but let me decide this, and maybe, I don't know if they've talked to him or not, but let me make a decision. And let's say Charlie Brewer decides he's not going to play football anymore. He could decide to come back, or he could decide to go play somewhere else. Does that, you think, affect Zeno and Bohannon, or do you think both of them have a foot out the door?
I think
both are true, actually.
I think both could be true. I think that if Charlie Brewer leaves, then you could see one of them stay. I don't see both of them staying. Mm-mm. So whichever, I mean,
Yeah,
I could see a scenario where all three of them are gone.
Yeah, I could too. And then you have Chapin, the baseball player. But if they all leave and you bring in a graduate transfer or another transfer, whatever you do, a JUCO guy, don't you need to make sure Chapin's going to play football only during the spring?
Well, yeah, I mean, they'll have those conversations, and that will – I mean, that's what I think they got to kind of figure out. Like, that's what these next couple of weeks will be is like, hey, Charlie, like, there's going to have to be a deadline of some sort because they've got to go recruit because here's the thing. If Charlie Brewer decides to leave and then Zeno and Bohannon – and I'll go ahead and make my prediction. I would not feel comfortable betting, like, good money on any of these things because it's so unpredictable, but I would not be shocked to see all three of those quarterbacks not on this roster next year. I really wouldn't be. I think Zeno's gone. Charlie, I feel like he's probably leaning towards calling it quits at this point at Baylor. And Bohannon, that's just never worked out. I just think it's time for some of these guys, as much as it is for Baylor to move on, it's time for them to probably move on as well. So that would not shock me at all. But yeah, like you are going to have to kind of put some sort of a timetable on this because if you need another quarterback, you need to know that because you need to go grab him like in the next couple months.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a chance you could lose all three of them. It'd be interesting if Charlie, I would think Charlie Brewer. I think Charlie Brewer will make his decision if he's not already made it. And that might come down sometime around the same time as National Signing Day. That no one's told me that. I don't know that, but that's my guess. Now, the 800-pound gorilla, Joey McGuire.
I think he's going to be very sought after. So if he comes back, it's because everybody, Joey McGuire, Dave Aranda, and everybody wants Joey back really, really badly because he's going to have suitors for his services, and he'll have suitors for his coaching services the rest as long as he decides to coach. And I think he's knocking at the door of being – I mean, he's ready to be a head coach in my opinion. I think he's totally ready. He was certainly considered as a candidate when Matt Rule left to be a head coach, and Mack Rhodes went with Dave Aranda. Dave Aranda kept him on. If I was Arkansas State, I'm telling you right now, I know that Oklahoma is the one, but if I was Arkansas State, I would not blink at hiring Joey McGuire.
Yeah, I'm not making it all a comparison to Alabama, like as far as program status or the people involved in any way, shape, or form, but if your dream is to be a head coach, you eventually have to make the moves to do that. Dabo Swinney couldn't just sit on the Alabama staff for his whole life and expect to become a head coach. And I don't know that right now is the time for Joey to leave, but I know that time's coming soon. And I don't know how much this year, just the change in staff for him after becoming so close with Rule and them, how much of an effect that may have had. But yeah, I think we're going to see a tweak or two on the coaching staff, and Joey would be right at the top of the list because he's going to be in demand, and that's the biggest reason why. And because along with that, we all know he wants to be a head coach at some point. So, to go on that journey, you either get that head coaching job from Baylor or, Oklahoma comes in and offers you a really sweet deal to just, climb the ladder some more.
Mack Rhodes, Scott Drew, Kim Mulkey, Dave Aranda, Grayson Grundhofer, March senior offensive lineman Micah Sauls, Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, Scott Stewart from Temple, Tyler Holcomb from Riker, Steve Huff of College Station. All of them today as a part of the show from start to finish, rock and roll, both Jack and Armstrong, and Jack McKenzie and Armstrong Sims with a great run today. Thanks to Paul Catalina, and thanks to Craig Smoak as well. We will be back on tomorrow at 12:30, our pregame for Baylor and Oklahoma State. We hope you've given you all you needed today. The information, breaking news, insight, background, and more. I'm David Smoak. Thank you for listening whenever you do, however long it might be, and good night. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Born and Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sic'Em365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco, Bird Culchin Ford.